Welcome to Survivor NSFW, talking Netflix's The Circle, U.S. edition, episodes 5 through 8. I am joined by one of the patrons from Survivor NSFW, Karen Eisenberg. And I have to say, not only are you a patron, huge fan of Survivor, you are our resident expert on all things The Circle, whether you like it or not.
I guess I am now. Huh?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well, Johnny. How are you?
Well, I've been binging episodes 5 through 8. Like I was so excited because I saw in one of the fan groups, there's very few, like they're on Survivor. There's 100 different fan groups. I'm banned from many of them, but some of those are self-bans. It's mutual. So, but there's a few U.S. Circle fan groups, and they're just like, hey, the new episodes drop at midnight, and I'm just like, I can stay up till midnight. If I watch 2 of them Tuesday night, get up early, watch the other 2, or space out. I have till 9:30 Eastern. I'm like, this is perfect. Au contraire, mon frère. Midnight Pacific time.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
So you should have asked Survivor NSFW's resident Circle expert. She would have told you that.
Then you would not have led me astray like the others did. There's a group. What is the name of this? There's people. The groups like it when I give them little shout outs and plugs. So there's a Circle Facebook group called Joey Put Your Shirt On, which I can fully endorse all day long. A group called Joey Put Your Shirt On. Karen, I have you here not only to discuss. I have an agenda, not only to discuss episodes 5 through 8. But also kind of put this together for those of us that are just watching the U.S. version now, because you've seen both seasons of the UK version, and without giving spoilers of the winner, you can still tell us some things that because I feel like I watched like 5 episodes of season 1 of the UK. The Circle before they took it off of YouTube. I mean, that there are means to go and see it. It's called a VPN. It's very tricky. So, but I have not. I've only seen that much, and I can tell you, just as a viewer, I felt that the game. I felt the characters were more dynamic, and it felt for me, just in 5 episodes, it felt more strategy based.
But the U.S., you mean? The U.S. is more strategy based?
No, I thought the U.K. was more strategy based.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
but I think, because there's just, I feel that it's a lot of flirting.
Oh, that's definitely true. Definitely true.
So my question is, I'm likening this to Survivor or Big Brother, but what do I not know as a U.S. viewer, only seen 5 episodes? What are they actually trying to do? Because I think they've done a horrific job of explaining how the fucking show works.
Right. You're right. And everything I'm about to tell you is based on, again, my experience with the UK. Sure. I've tried to do some research, and they're not telling us anything. Okay. We didn't know until a day or 2 before New Year's Day, even how many episodes there were, or in what way they were going to drop, Yeah. So I'm kind of guessing along with the rest of us. But based on my experience in the UK, this is what I think is going to happen. Okay. So you've already seen, right? We start with 8 people. As one person gets blocked, another person will come in. Now, at some point, they will tell us that no more new people are going to come in. And that might have happened with Ed. There was kind of a cryptic comment about Ed being the last person coming in. We can discuss that when we get there, but I'm not 100% sure that that's true.
Yeah, I'm more than because it appears as though, I mean, it's advertised as a 3-week event. So it's like, okay, we have episodes 1 through 4, 5 through 8. Next week's the end. And you know, I'm on episode 4. I'm like, stop bringing motherfuckers into the show.
So this Ed might have been the last one.
Okay, please, I'm begging.
We are at 9 people.
Well,
and they have to
technically 10 because of his mom.
Oh, it's okay, but there are 9 characters playing the game.
Correct.
Okay, and we've got 4 episodes to get it down. In the previous seasons, 4 was the end game. So I mean, it could work if they just kind of speed it up a little bit. But I am also surprised that they didn't stop, say, at the halfway point.
Okay.
So what will happen, again, based on what happened in the UK, is that there will be one last rating, just like the others. Right, you rank the other people 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
and then they put all of that together, and whoever has the highest, or I guess in this case the lowest placement, will win, just like what they do with the other ratings.
Okay. Now
it makes the strategy is a little bit different as a result of that than what you might have thought in other shows, because you were saying, like, what is this? Let me take a step back. Yeah. The best description I've heard for the circle, and unfortunately I don't remember where I heard it, is it's a combination of Catfish, Big Brother, and a Black Mirror episode. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a decent, but anyway, so what happens in the circle is, obviously, if you are a contestant, right, you want to rank the person number 1 who you think is the least likely to win. Okay. Right. To improve your chances. Now, but what happens is, if, let's say, you do have a goat, and I don't know the whole goat thing, is it really even a thing that works so well in this show? But so let's say there's somebody who, for whatever reason, you just don't think is going to win.
Let's say Joey's a goat. Okay. Because I feel that Joey and Shuby towards the end got the pity vote, and I think one. We'll get to why they got there, but I felt that those were kind of pity votes, especially Joey.
Interesting, and I love Joey.
Yeah, that's to each his own.
Right, exactly. But in any case, so let's say Joey is our goat. Right?
Yes.
If the other 3 people all rank Joey number 1 because they don't think he's a threat, Joey's going to win the game. Okay. So it's this kind of this inception thing where you have to figure out how you're going to rank people and think about how you think other people are going to rank. And what do you think people are going to think about how you're going to rank? Okay. Right. Now, the one thing that makes this a little bit better is the first season of the UK. They weren't doing ratings. They were doing rankings, rather. They were doing ratings. Everybody got rated on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Yeah. Right. Rather than saying 1, 2, 3. And so what ended up happening in the end game of that season is 3 of the people had figured this out, and they gave everybody else 1 star, or maybe they couldn't give them the exact same rating. So you do it 1, 2, 3 stars, something like that. Sure. I forgot exactly how it worked. And then there was one person who was trying to be nice and gave everybody 4s and 5s. Guess what? That person finished in 4th. Yeah. Right. So they realized that they had an issue. And also apparently Netflix, when they were talking to the production company about buying the show, they said, we love this, but we hate the ratings. Sure. So I'm not sure in which order these things happen. But anyway, now we're doing the rankings. And so we do have this weird idea about, like, so what do you do in the end game? It's hard for me to advise somebody, like I said, because of that. But the short answer is vote for the person who you think is the least likely to win. Okay. And so, like, there's all these people, like, it feels like the US version, there's so much attention being given to finding the catfish. Like, there's got to be a catfish. We got to find the catfish. Right. Like, and, it. Yeah. Okay, so is that half the battle in the UK version, or is this something that the US version is making it too important? And like, my feeling is, as I said, I haven't, I'm on episode 8. I finished episode 8. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's as far as I've seen into any season. Right. And I'm thinking, just if I'm in that house, if there's a catfish that has fooled me and I discover that they're a catfish, because at the final 4, they meet each other. Right. Okay. I applaud them for tricking me. Right. Right. And so there's 2 different things. It's how people behave in the game and how people behave after the game, which are 2 separate things. But, even in season 1, this isn't a spoiler because this comes up in the first episode, there's a guy who was playing as his girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay, right? You've seen him.
Yes.
Alex, and he was playing it as Kate.
Yes.
Now, as the season goes on, people do start to question whether he's a catfish. But what happens in the end, basically, we hear people saying to each other, yeah, she might be a catfish, but we like her anyway.
Yeah.
So
we're
even in the UK,
anything like that on the US,
right. I'm saying no. But so in the US, it's even worse. Yeah, people do seem to think that they're playing catfish, right? They think that the name of the game is to find the catfishes, and that's not the game.
That's why I think they've done as we started, they've done a horrific job explaining to us how the fucking game is played for a viewer, and even more important, I feel like they gave a shitty explanation of the rules to the people playing the fucking game.
Well, I'm assuming that they had more explanation than we got.
Not based on what we're seeing.
Right.
They're playing, let's find the catfish.
Right.
And not even doing that good a job.
Right. Well, look, they can decide because that's a popularity contest, right? People can vote for whatever they want to vote for, just like in Survivor and Big Brother.
Yeah. I see I see this being a bitter jury. I not necessarily bitter as in mad, but bitter as in their feelings were hurt.
Yeah. Well, but you don't but in terms of the whole thing with being meeting, et cetera, obviously that happens after the votes are cast. So you don't know for sure that somebody is a catfish until you have already given your final ratings.
Okay. So you do your final rate and then they meet and then
they meet and then the prize is awarded.
And then they bring out everyone else for the live reunion thing.
Well, that's what they did. I'm trying to remember. In season 1, was everybody there? I know in season 2, everybody was.
Okay. Well, it appears based on the preview that everyone's there because they're asking someone, who are you most excited to see?
Right. Okay. So then let's assume that they don't have a separate reunion episode, but kind of as part of the finale, they will all come back out.
Well, then that's I was thinking. Okay, so once again, with nothing fucking explained, I was thinking that the final 4 meet and then they do their rankings. So, but if that's not the case,
no, that's not the case.
So see, that kind of sucks. I feel like someone could be rewarded for catfish, and maybe that's what we're going to find out with the cliffhanger at the end of episode 8. But I don't think they had done enough work to get to that point. But all right. I feel like I have a much better grasp than I did before. The US version is playing a game that they're not playing, which is nice.
Right.
and no one in America that hasn't seen the UK version has any fucking clue how this goes.
And I'm just and I was just going to tell people also the audience just a few other things questions that I keep hearing.
Yeah.
So they do see a producer every day. So they are locked out in those apartments, right? And they can only go out, once a day. They can choose to go to the jacuzzi, they have the weight room, and they have the yoga studio, as they call it. Okay. But other than that, you're locked in the apartment, but you do see somebody every day.
Okay.
You see they can place a grocery order. They give them within reason whatever they want, to cook. They do get alcohol. I'm sure there's a limit on how much alcohol they want to give them because they want them to, be able to function. But they do, some people have also asked me about Sammy and the screaming, right? And aren't people going to hear her screaming? And the answer to that is there was a guy in the first season of the UK version, Freddie, who you saw.
Yeah.
That is Freddie. A screamer. Yeah. That is I love Freddie too. Yeah. But that is a screamer. Yeah. Compared to what Sammy is doing, it's 1 on a scale of 10. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of these things I'm saying now come from a interview that Freddie did with Taron Armstrong from RHAP after his season.
Okay.
So what was I going to say? So
could they hear screaming?
So they get it right. So they did move to a different building after the first season, and I don't know if this is why, because they said then that the buildings were the rooms were soundproofed. Right. And at least in the new building, you do see that there are balconies. They're not allowed to go out on those.
Yeah.
So the point is that it was supposedly soundproof before Freddie. They realized they're not soundproof enough. They soundproofed it more. But the short answer is there is no way that people should be able to hear Sammy screaming. It might be annoying, but it's not impacting the game in any way.
Okay. The season 2 UK house is the same house they're using for the US season 1.
And they're also using that house for Brazil and France.
Okay.
Which, interestingly, when you look, when I searched on Netflix for The Circle last week, the Brazilian and the French seasons are coming up in the search as, something that is going to be posted to Netflix in the future.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping we might get that.
But they also advertised the US version for the UK, and they did not get it.
Well, they said they're going to get it later.
Well, maybe.
Right.
But they were expecting it January 1st.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. I think.
But the point now, they've got this building set up. And if you think about it, this is now a very cheap show to produce.
Super cheap.
Once you've already purchased that building and made the modifications or whatever, you can just cycle casts in and out of that building all year long.
Absolutely.
So that is kind of my one hope for the show, because other than that, I don't think the US season is going particularly well. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I am not enjoying it the way I enjoyed the UK versions.
Have you seen anything where they're talking about early Netflix numbers for the US? Is this considered?
I haven't seen.
Is this considered as, because I feel like, I don't know if it was worldwide trending. I mean, especially when it wasn't on the fucking, but I feel like it was trending.
It was trending, at least in the US, right? And even just the fact that there are so many, press outlets and podcasts and everything covering it, I do think gives me some hope for the show.
Okay.
But even then, just out of curiosity, I was checking, the Twitters of some of these people, and they have, a few thousand followers even now.
I purposely haven't there's a couple I want to seek out. I did do it.
And I can probably imagine which ones those are, Johnny.
Yeah, I did a couple private browser searches on a couple of them. No luck thus far. I didn't finish the Miranda search. We'll go back. All right, so we're going to start with episode 5 and work our way through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And anyone watching, if you leave comments on the side, we'll bring them up and answer them if we see fit, and if not, we will not. I assure you. So, all right. Do you want to lead us off?
Sure. So when we left the circle last week, Adam had just joined.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we did hear then, right? We see who he is. He's kind of a dorky kind of guy, has an interesting wardrobe.
Hate him.
And and he is playing as Adam, right? Who is
Alex.
This heart rock.
Yeah. Sorry. Alex is playing as Adam. So
right, exactly.
Real quick, huge problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fucking need to learn another name that is so ridiculously close?
Yeah.
To your, I mean, there is no difference between Alex and Adam. Like right. I thought for sure when he sent the hashtag Rebecca and Adam forever.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was accidentally gonna say hashtag Alex and Rebecca forever, and I was praying, and then Rebecca, who's not really Rebecca, is like, who the fuck is Alex?
Right.
Like I thought it would have been so just delicious to see that motherfucker trip.
Well, and I think that plays into something that I've heard you talk about, and I think it's even good advice, like in Survivor, Big Brother, etc. Obviously, sometimes you have to lie. Sure. But I would argue that you should lie as little as possible.
Absolutely.
Just because the more you lie, the more chance it is that you're going to get caught out. So like you said, if your name is Alex, which is a perfectly normal guy, and there's no reason that, Alex couldn't be this hot guy. Be Alex. Yeah. I agree with you.
So we do have a comment here. Yo, Adam/Alex is probably the worst cast addition, even after the generic bro and the generic bro who brought his mom.
Yeah, I mean, and I actually like most of these people.
I find myself, as soon as they introduce someone new, that I initially hate them, and then for the most part, they grow on me.
Right. I was going to say, I don't know that I even hated them, but yeah, but I'm saying the initial 8, I basically, even Alana, I think I liked a little bit less.
Oh, I loved Alana.
Well, but did you really love anything about her other than what she looks like? Because she's extremely attractive.
I didn't know there was anything else.
Exactly. That's my point. So that's why you and I have very different opinions of Alana.
I'm very superficial, but at the same time, in Survivor, I like that's the Russell Hantz strategy. That's not the Jonny Fairplay. I mean, like I've never been wooed on Survivor. I'm a brains and logic first over looks and whatever happens to come with looks.
Right. So you're saying if you were on the island and there were 2 women, right, and one who's going to be a much better Survivor player and one is hot, you are going to pair up with the good Survivor player and not the hot.
In a heartbeat. Like Sugar. I think Sugar is beautiful, and she and outside the game, one of my best friends. If I were to return to Survivor and Sugar is there, I'm not playing with her.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the correct answer. I guess I'm questioning whether you'd be able to follow through on that. But no, you're absolutely right.
Well, I mean, if I wouldn't play with my friend who's attractive, then I'm not going to play with someone who's not my friend that's attractive.
Right. And it's better to just, I think, keep your head. This is a game for $100,000.
Sure.
And it's just like in Big Brother. Everybody always says at the beginning of the season, I'm not going to do a showmance, and then they're locked in a house for 100 days. And you know what? They all showmance.
Yeah.
Because they're bored and they have nothing else to do.
The showmancing on this is, because it honestly feels like how long is the entire shoot, you think, for the US version?
3 weeks. I think the UK one was 3 weeks. So this is less. Let's say this is 2 weeks.
And they can't and they're so thirsty.
Right.
Just thirsty.
Right. And a lot of them are actually in relationships in real life.
Yeah. Well, not according to their status.
Right. But I'm not sure, but that might be a game decision that they made. Right.
Yeah.
That they're going to have more, interest if they say that they're single.
I think that is a correct / superficial view to enter into the game with. Absolutely.
Yeah. So. And that's the same. And this comes into the same questions about should Karen / Mercedes have done what she did. Yeah. Right. Is Sean making the right decision by using somebody else's photos? Right. Yeah. And what we saw in the UK circle is that, everything really was about authenticity, right? People had to feel that you were a real person and you were willing to make yourself vulnerable. That was far more important than, being hot.
Okay. But could you be honest being perceived visually different, or no, it had to be the total package? Well, so again, I'm not sure if there's a good way to use this example without spoiling the season. You don't have to. But yeah, no, I don't want. Okay, fair enough. But it even plays into, like I said, this larger issue, which I don't think the show has really ever addressed, which is, you talk about somebody catfishing, and there is a huge range of possibility of behavior within that. I think there's a difference between playing as a catfish and playing as what I call, as using a skin. Like in a video game, right? That you just kind of put a skin. So Mercedes certainly started as a real catfish. She was ordering the questions as if she were Mercedes. Yes. Right. And then in time, she kind of backed off on that. And she ends up telling Antonio later that, no, that was me. You were talking to me. Yeah. Well, so that was kind of turned more into a skin. And I think that's why Antonio went home early, because I think he kind of isolated himself into those one-on-one conversations with Mercedes instead of playing the field. Right. And that's another thing that I think a lot of the U.S. viewers don't know, because it hasn't been addressed on the show. So these guys, they only have a limited number of chats they can have that's per something day. I should have brought. Right. I think Freddie said that it's around 3 per day. And I'm still not sure what that means then, is that then if somebody wants to add you into a chat or something like that, does that mean that it's just extra? Or is this just is this all kind of predetermined the night before? Because that's my understanding is, that they would, production will come in, they'll ask you what you want in terms of groceries, and then they would say, okay, who do you want to talk to tomorrow? Yeah, I'm thinking you're limited to 3 per day because at the end, spoiler alert,
Right.
only the end of episode 8, Joey, Shuby, Chris, and Sammy solidify their alliance, and Shuby, I believe it's Shuby or either Joey, one of those says that Rebecca too is in that alliance, but Rebecca is not in that chat. And I'm wondering if Rebecca had already used his/her 3 chats for the day. That's the only reason.
That's possible. Or it's possible that a group chat, is limited to 4 people. I don't know. Like you said, they're not telling us any of this.
I know.
And the fact that the only reason that I know the little that I know is because Freddie, did this interview with Karen. It's
not like they explained this on the UK version either.
Right. Well,
kill me.
It's poor planning. And like you said, and then if people turn on a new show and they don't know what the heck is going on, they're going to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the problem with Big Brother originally. I think there was a lot of confusion on Big Brother, and then they did a 180 with, I think they changed, production companies, season 1, season 2. And now, you turn on now, like they over explain everything. It's just like, okay, I don't need I got it. I'm not 4.
Right. No, well, Big Brother assumes that its audience is, like you said, stupid, drunk, or only watches every 4th episode, because you can kind of do that. They will tell you, they not only tell you things, but they tell them to you over and over and over again.
So it's just like it's just like, hey, did you just start watching Big Brother? And tonight or tonight is the next to last episode? Well, it's like, what? No, I'm watching the whole time. Stop it.
Right.
So yeah, even Piper is just like, they just keep saying the same. That's a trope in a lot of reality TV shows. Whatever they end on the commercial starts at the beginning, and it's just which is great, with when you have a fast forward button, but Netflix, you don't have the issue of commercials, and you don't have the issue of knowing everything going on because
and the other thing that I kind of don't understand is why we only get 12 episodes and why they are so short compared to the UK episodes. They're already in the building. They already have plenty of material. I guess they just decided that based on, what they got from the shoot, the 12 days was enough. I don't know. But this is Netflix. Like you said, they're not limited to, fitting into a 42-minute slot.
Sure.
They could give us more.
Yeah. I'm thinking that this is the test. I'm thinking they saw the success of the UK version and they're just like, this is either a hit or miss in the US. So let's throw a couple timbers on the fire. If it works, we'll throw some coal next time.
That's what I'm hoping, is that if this season gets them the kind of ratings that they want, that we will get a longer season. And also in the UK, you also see a big difference between even just UK season 1 and season 2, that by season 2, they have audience voting and they have live shows once a week. And, it's much more, which was kind of generally useless. It didn't really add a whole lot, but it was fun. Like they would bring out the people who had already been blocked and they would bring in other guests and, but obviously I guess, that adds to the cost. And also obviously if you're going to do any kind of an audience vote, then you have to be filming it, you're doing it almost in real time. Like, Like, so I was disappointed when we heard, it's filming, it's all done, and you're going to see it in 2020. I was like, that's not how it works, but it can
I'm
work
okay
that
with
way.
that. I would rather, I'm a fan of the binging format just because, if my schedule were a lot lighter, I'd once a week appointment viewing, I could do this, but where it's at now, this is pretty ideal for me.
Right. Well, I don't want, once a week appointment viewing. What I would like is what the UK version was, which, like I said, everything was, it was a 2 to 3 day lag. If a conversation took place on Sunday, you would see it on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Sure.
And I guess I like that better. I love binging, most kinds of shows, but for not just a reality show, but the kind of thing where there really is analysis and strategy involved. And I want to be able to see what other people are saying, whether it's on Twitter or in the press, on other podcasts, whatever. And we have a 20 episode season, that's a lot of binging.
Yeah. They're making you binge Wednesdays to
right.
if you want to interact. I mean, like last week we were talking, you're just like, oh, I've watched the first 2. I'm going to watch the other 2, over the weekend. And then, you find yourself on Monday. It's just like, well, no one's talking about it now.
Right. And by the way, so I did tell you that I was going to watch 1 a day. But then when I realized, like you said, very quickly that everybody else I knew who was watching had already finished it.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost the worst of both worlds because you need to watch it when it comes out if you want to be able to part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're not dropping 1 episode at a time, right? They're dropping 4 episodes at a time. So unless, you have the kind of job where you can take off every Wednesday, you're not really going to be able to keep up.
Yeah. No, they make it tough. We're earning this. We're earning it.
Yeah. I was going to say they're doing, I feel like, almost everything they could do to kill the show. And if they have not, if they're not able to kill it, it's because it is such a strong format. Yeah. I mean, I love the basic setup of the show. I find it fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So back to Alex/Adam. So his second profile pic with the dog, I thought screamed catfish.
Yeah. More than the one with the abs but no pecs.
Yeah, I thought even more so. And for the record, everyone loves dogs. I don't even like dogs.
Right, but he does have a point in that many people do like.
Many
dogs.
people do. I mean, like honestly, this is how much I hate Adam/Alex.
Mm-hmm.
On the UK version, when the guy, the bartender guy was just like, my dog just died. Was it him or Freddie? Whose dog just died?
I think it was Freddie.
Freddie. And they're just like, oh, I was like, what an awesome, like, I'm all in on this. Like, I love it. And then, Adam/Alex just like, yeah, I can do a picture. I was like, oh, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say, like I said, despite the fact that I like most of these people, I am having a hard time liking Alex.
Yeah.
Although he is doing certain things right, because if you go back, right at the beginning of this episode, he said that his goal was to be friendly, approachable, and non-threatening. And that's a pretty good goal. He didn't behave. He didn't behave in accordance with that goal, but it was a good goal. Yeah. And then the next thing he said is that he predicts that the rest of the cast is going to be, quote, overcome with emotion and sexual energy when they see his photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of Alex in a nutshell.
Because I think he was overcome with sexual energy looking at those photos.
It's possible. But then Miranda said, I drooled a little. So maybe he's not, completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, I don't know. I see that, like, if I'm in the house and I see that person, I'm like, fuck you. Like that's not someone that I'm going to say, that's the person I want to win the show if it's not me.
Right. But the women in the series might feel differently.
I don't feel like they do. Not based on the react, like, like Miranda.
Well, that's a personality issue, though. I don't think it's because of what he looks like. I think they were very interested in what he looks like until we start talking.
Yeah. Well, but guys that look like that talk like that. I think Alex did figure out how the character would act.
I think Alex took it too far, though. I mean, I think
very much
will come up several times as we go through the,
because I think Alex wants to be Adam in real life,
right?
And he's it wasn't what would Adam do right here. It's I'm Adam right now, and I'm all in. And I'm gonna live my like I think he was enjoying it, whether it be fucking up his game or not. And I think it was, but I don't think it was like. I think he was just like this is the life I've always wanted, not my life, not the life with not the married life, the single Adam life. Looking like this is the life I've always wanted, and I'm gonna live this whether I win or lose this game. I don't care about that. Right,
and what he also tells us is if Alex had been born looking like Adam, he would be an a-hole. Yeah. No,
that part is true.
Right.
So, This is a real quick side note. We see Joey, and Joey's one of those assholes that keeps the sticker on his cap.
I didn't get that.
As if I didn't have enough fucking reasons to hate Joey, to keep the fucking sticker. I
have a soft spot for Joey, though. I mean, maybe it's because I grew up in New Jersey with a lot of guys just like Joey.
Well, every guy in New Jersey is Joey. Like, what, have you ever watched the Jersey Shore?
I haven't, but yeah, I know. But they're all like that.
They're all the same fucking person. Like it's just like, which one do you like better, the Situation or Pauly D? Or I'm just like, they're the same fucking guy.
But I do think Joey again is a little bit more real. I feel like there's a real vulnerable person there.
There's a real vulnerable person hidden under his fucking bullshit.
Right. But it's already starting. It even started to come out a little bit last week. And certainly this week, I think.
Yeah. Right. I don't hate. I did hate him. I don't hate him. Like, because I think out of everyone in the house, he is top 3 most genuine person there.
Right.
Probably top 2. Him and Shuby.
Right.
So. And
I really do think in terms of like, what is the purpose of this game, which again, they never really make clear to us or even to them.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think he can win because I don't like, as I said, I think the one time he becomes an influencer, I think it's just like, everyone else got a shot. This seems like an off day. Let's just fucking give it to him.
Oh, you mean that you said he was getting pity votes from everyone? See, I don't think so. I think that the way that you win the circle is by being, vulnerable and authentic and, being just so thoroughly yourself. And I do think Joey's doing that. And he's doing a good job of making relationships with people. And the difference between Adam and Joey, the difference between Adam and Joey is Joey is also flirting with the girls, right? But there's more to it than just the flirting.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how to flirt.
Right, but he tries.
Not really. He's pretty fucking horrible at flirting. So, but it's fun. Like Joey, I do appreciate the character because as I said, top 2 most genuine people. Like if someone like whenever there's a new person, he's just like, fuck this guy. This guy sucks. Right. And if you say and you could be a girl and be dismissed. If you say one nice thing to Joey, he forgets everything from the past. He's just like, yeah, you want to be my friend? I want to be your friend. I mean, like, oh no, I didn't mean any of that. I mean, I didn't know that you liked me for this 1 second. So,
but again, that's not a bad way to play this game. If somebody has not shown any interest in you and suddenly they are, in real life, you might want to say, screw you. You don't want to talk to me for 2 weeks and now suddenly you want to talk to me. Whereas I think in the circle, it's just like on Survivor, right? When somebody comes up to you and asks, do you want to be an alliance? You say yes, no matter who it is, right? Yeah. And I would argue no matter what they did to you yesterday, right? Because today they can benefit your game.
I think he's a bit of a simpleton.
I didn't say he was a brain surgeon.
Well, right? I'm just saying, he's borderline painfully dumb.
Do we know what he does for a living? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I mean, I think he's professionally loves his family.
Well, that we definitely know. That we definitely know.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? With that being the case, he gets an allowance. That's his job. It has to be.
No, but again, I kind of feel like, I don't know Joey, but I know a lot of guys who are Joey essentially, and they do love their mothers.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. So I think he's being very honest. Like I said, he's being very much himself.
Yeah.
And like you said, even with you said he's growing on you, right?
Oh, big time. I would probably be working with Joey, but I would be working with Joey knowing that I could beat him. Like, I believe he's loyal.
Right.
I think it takes minimal effort to keep him at bay and with you.
Right.
And I think he's easy to beat.
Right. So then maybe you would want to keep him to the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think he's a goat. I mean, I don't know if the show has goats because we don't know the.
Well, and I would argue again that given the fact that he was just an influencer, right, that shows that he's not a goat. I don't. Why do you think it's a pity vote? I mean, any other reason other than the fact that you can't just believe that people would actually like him that much?
Yeah, I don't.
Is what you're saying based on anything?
No, I just don't think I just think looking at the lay of the land, I just Joey, here we go. Joey is a bartender, so his dumb and his charisma can get him far in a dive bar. Okay.
But that makes sense. And also then, but then he would be somebody who is pretty good at making connections with people quickly. If you're a bartender and you want to get good tips, that's job. One of the first things you do.
I know plenty of bartenders that don't work that are too dumb to work for tips. I would not be shocked if Joey was one of them.
No, but I'm saying, but I could see Joey being that kind of guy. And again, it's the kind of the light flirting, that's kind of where he starts, which is what you probably want to do also if you're a bartender.
Sure.
But there is more there. Whereas again, my argument with Adam/Alex is there is no there, right? Yeah. Once he stops flirting,
there's nothing.
There's nothing underneath.
Yeah. So, all right. So Alex starts a group chat, and he talks with Rebecca, Mercedes, and Sammy. And what didn't make much sense to me is the girl that aroused Alex the most, which seemed to be Miranda, and easily the most single of the group. Why wouldn't he have her in the chat if he's looking for arousal?
Yeah, I wasn't sure that. Well, I would take a step back. I mean, I think this whole thing was just badly planned out. Like, let's say, so he can take somebody on a date, and let's say, and they told him that he could pick 3 people to have a chat with. Yeah. Now, he turned this into the dating game, right? He interviewed these three women to figure out. That's not what I would have done. I would have got 3 guys and gotten their opinions on the women, because that would be a much faster way to kind of know where the relationships are.
Yeah.
And get the information about, I think she's a catfish, and whatever.
No,
right?
But I think he was too interested in living his life as Adam versus playing the game. Right. Like he's just like, I immediately have a chance to be this dude. These chicks think I'm this dude, and I want to see the perks that gives you.
Right, possibly. But like I said, from a game move, it didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, zero.
And then he also says, he actually texts, quote, the girl who arouses me the most will win the date. And then he immediately says, send it before I regret it. Right? So he knew this was questionable. He said it. And all 3 of the women immediately turned on him.
Oh, immediately.
Right. Because it's like what we're saying. He goes a little bit too far.
Yeah.
He doesn't know there are lines with flirting, and he just doesn't even know that the lines exist. So when you have Joey telling you, and this happened later, that Joey is telling you, you just crossed the line. I think you're a weirdo. You're getting that from Joey, not from a woman. Yeah. That tells you really went way too far.
But Joey has no game. So game recognized game. He ain't got none.
Well, you could say he doesn't have any game, but right. But again, people seem to like him, and I like him.
Yeah. So, no, I'm just talking about like sex game. He ain't got no sex game. But I stand corrected. We'll find it. So when Sammy mentions her escapades on a trampoline, she does not text that. She doesn't message that, and she just shares that with us, the viewer. Correct?
Right. And you feel like if she had shared that, then maybe she would have gotten the date.
No. Well, not with Alex would have shit himself, or something else. Himself.
Like when dogs chase cars, but when they catch them, they can't drive.
Yeah.
So query what he would have done with a willing Sammy, right? Because I don't think he would not. Like you said, I think he would run away.
He would have had to change his underwear from either the front or back. Right? So, but she did answer that she has a metal pole bed for a reason, and good God Almighty, I am a huge fan of Sammy. Is to me, it's what's it? Mila Kunis meets maybe.
Yeah, maybe I see maybe
from a lot. Well, not later seasons, maybe early season. What happened? Stop it! But but yeah, no. I mean, just so just every correct answer. So. But he says that the girl that arouses him the most is the one he's going to pick, and the one that basically says nothing,
right?
the vaguest as it gets, Rebecca, because she doesn't know how to be a girl.
Well, my theory is about why this happened is that, he did say something. He said that the other girls were more elusive. This would be my argument. The guys like it when they have to work a little bit to get a woman. The other two were, basically, like you said, going straight for, sex talk. And Rebecca, and she's made this thing from the beginning, I'm shy and I'm not sure, but it's a smart game move for several reasons. Okay. It gives you time to think.
Yeah.
And just in general, if you're a catfish, you want to say as little as possible. Like you said, you want to lie as little as possible.
Sure.
So I'm fine with that. So that's the thing. So Adam probably felt like, okay, I've got Sammy, I've got everybody else. Rebecca is the girl that I haven't, don't have her wrapped around my finger yet. So I need to woo her.
Okay.
It's my theory. Or he's just an idiot, which is also completely possible.
He did not grow on me at all.
No, like I said, he is the only one that I just, I would like to find something that I like about him.
Yeah.
I'm having, he's got, the one thing I'll give him is, with his wardrobe, again, he wears what he likes,
He's just dressing like an asshole to be an asshole, though.
That's possible, or it's possible he just doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, like I said, not a big fan of Adam.
No.
And I'm surprised that he's still there, quite frankly, because he has alienated enough people that I did not think that he was going to last long.
I don't think he's playing a good game at all, but I think he said enough to Joey that to keep him in the game.
Right. Well, and that might be the most important person he turned around, because at the beginning, obviously, Joey couldn't stand him. Yeah,
but as I said, it only takes one nice thing to get Joey on your side, and then if you're only allowed 3 conversations a day, and you can tell from the voting, this guy's on the lower rung of likability with everyone.
Right.
He's probably using one of his 3 every day for Joey because he knows it works.
Right. But if he does do that in the end, that's going to come to bite him, because that's what happened with Antonio. Yeah. Right. That you really have to make sure that you make relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
And, like on Survivor, you check in with everybody every day. You can't do that necessarily in the circle, but you want to make sure as much as you can to spread yourself around.
Yeah.
And not just spend all day, every day talking to the same person.
You can tell that some people are playing stagnant games and some people are playing much, but I love Miranda. I thought just ridiculously cute, bubbly, just so fun. Yeah. And just I feel she played like just an isolating. I didn't feel she reached out like the others did, because I think they would have shown more. There's only 40 minutes per episode. They can only show so much. Right. But I feel like she was one that, in spite of her outgoing personality, I don't think she was. I feel, and I could be wrong. Could be the exact opposite. It felt to me that production was giving us everything she gave them. Right.
Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, this is season 1. The UK seasons do exist, right? But this is, pretend this is Borneo, right? Yeah. And nobody really knows how to play this game. God, if you think about it, if Hatch had not been on season 1, there probably wouldn't have been a season 2. Because other than that, it was a lot of people just, running into each other and, not knowing where to go.
Voting alphabetically.
Right. So this is the same thing, that these are people who probably got cast from, YouTubes and Insta and whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Did they know they were playing the circle, or did they just say reality show?
I mean, I'm sure at some point that they have to explain to you what you're doing.
No, they don't. I mean, because I know, really? I have a friend who was on Average Joe.
Yeah.
And Average Joe, they were cast for a show called Life of the Party. And so they showed up, and it's 10 nerds, and and then the hot chicks there. And the casting was, are you kind of a nerd, but you think you're cool and your friends think you're cool, so you're really cool, but maybe the cool kids don't think you're cool. And these nerds are just like, that's me, and I'm gonna be cool, and I'm gonna be on the show, and I'm gonna get the hot chick. So anyways, so it's 10 nerds, and they're just like, this is my dreams come true. And then the guy goes, and here's the 10 other people, 10 cool studs. And like my friend Mark Marcuse, we call him Average Mark. Like he's sitting there, just like what the fuck just happened? And one of the cool guys walks up to Mark, grabs an egg out of the fucking refrigerator, and just breaks it over his fucking head. And just like And like,
well, but I think in this case they needed that reaction. You know, they couldn't tell the nerds about the other guys because, like I said, first of all, they wouldn't have played the game, and second, you wouldn't have gotten that oh shit kind of reaction. So obviously, you know a lot more about this industry than I do. But I would have assumed that at some point in the casting process, they explained to you a little bit about what you're going to do. Like you're going to be locked up in an apartment for 2 weeks and you're basically not going to talk to anybody. Like you're going to the UK, you need a passport. You know, at some point, I've got to feel like they explain the game to you. Maybe it's the night before, but they explain the game to you.
I don't know. I mean, like I think they could cast it as, you know, do you like Big Brother? Like, you know, but there's more isolation. I think you could be vague. And but I think if you're Chris or one of the smarter players, you just do a Google search. You're like UK Big Brother isolate, and then you see it's the fucking circle.
Maybe
and you figure it out before you go. Because I feel like half the people kind of know what they're doing, and the other half have no clue.
Right. But I was going to say, so it's like Borneo. Most people have no idea what they're doing because it is basically a new show. Let's assume for whatever reason that watching the UK versions was not an option for people, right? But the second one probably hadn't even been filmed.
Okay.
But what was I saying? I'm sorry. Yeah, but so I don't know. But let's assume that they got these people off of Insta, YouTube, whatever.
Probably.
And like I said, some people figured out somebody like Chris. It's a combination of, you know, he just has charisma, right? He's funny. You know, he gets along well with people. And he might have kind of just stumbled into the right way to play the game.
Yeah. I love, I mean, so you said you recognized Chris and
yes.
Yeah.
So, and I thought I recognized him last week, but I couldn't figure out where I knew him from. And then one of the episodes today, I think it was episode 5, he's wearing a House of Edwards t-shirt. Haus of Edwards. That is so Alyssa Edwards is one of the best known drag queens, I would say, in America. She's been on RuPaul's Drag Race numerous times. As well, Alyssa Edwards then got her own reality show, you know, where they follow her around and watch her teach dance, and they see her both as Alyssa and then as Justin, right, as her male identity. Anyway, and Chris is, you know, in that posse. He runs with Alyssa.
Okay.
And it also makes perfect sense because Justin / Alyssa is also a deeply Christian, gay, you know, and Chris I don't know if he's a drag queen, but we saw him wearing makeup.
Yeah.
So anyway, it makes sense. That's where he comes from. And now he makes a lot more sense to me.
I'm thinking he is telling people about what he does as well. Because like, it seems like they like Chris. Like if I were playing the circle, I would just be Jonny Fairplay, and I would just tell story, like, you know, it's just like, you know, like the podcast. It's just like, you know, like what crazy stuff did you? I was like, I used to work for Roddy Piper, and then, you know, when I got married, Rhino was there with his penis out, and, you know, they're just like, well, tell us more. So I think,
but again, I don't think you have a lot of time. I think this also comes up. I think you discussed this last week about how like suddenly people are like, oh, I have to take a shower, you know, whatever. And sometimes, you know, for strategy reasons, you do want to get out of the chat. But also, I think it's not just that you only get 3 chats a day, but each chat is limited to like 10 or 15 minutes. So that might just be their way of saying that, you know, somehow they've got a signal that the chat is ending.
Okay.
Again, just a guess because they haven't told us any of this. I
would still, if I'm playing myself, I would still try to get out as much information as possible. Also ask, you know, follow.
That's what I was going to say. Right. The real thing is, if you ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People, just basically comes down to people like to talk about themselves.
Sure.
So if you can just, you know, ask them questions and, you know, ask follow-up questions and kind of lean back.
Yeah. So,
people, and especially if you're a catfish. Right.
Yeah.
The more you talk and the less you talk, the better off you are.
Well, as I said, Chris isn't a catfish, and people are bored.
With Chris, you mean, or just in general in the circle?
Just people are bored. Like on Survivor, you're fucking bored. I can only imagine being isolated. The boredom is times 1,000.
But at least you get stuff to do. You can bring books. You can do a jigsaw puzzle. You know, I do think that, at least for me, this would be much easier on me than something like Survivor.
Oh, I mean, I think this game seemed. As I said, I would play as me, and I think I'd do all right.
Well, and I think most people should play as themselves. I mean, something we started to talk about, and then I think we segued into something else. That there is a difference between, you have to figure out: are you playing as a catfish? Are you just using a skin, right? Or are you playing as yourself? And I think there should be a strong preference for playing as yourself, especially because you see what happened, like with Karen / Mercedes. I think Karen, would have been very popular in the circle.
I think so too.
Just been her because she was funny, and she's not sure she was nice. She was doing all you have to do. But I do understand her decision, because as she said to Antonio, if you saw a picture of this, would you have talked to me?
Antonio would not have, but the majority of the house would have.
Right.
So she was trying to win over the wrong people.
Right. Well, or I still believe that if she had just kind of used Mercedes as a skin, right, and also made sure that her first picture wasn't so incredibly filtered, etc.
Oh my God!
But if she had played as herself and let her humor come out, I think she would have. At least she would have been fine, even if she didn't have the skin. But her personality plus the skin, I think, would have been a winning combination. I was very sorry to see her go.
I don't think that skin has that personality. I think that skin is probably a shallow person.
Probably, but
that's why she was saying the things she was as that person, because that's what that person is.
Well, because this is what Karen was also assuming, right? That people who look like that are dumb and shallow. Yeah. But it's not always true.
No, not always. But a lot of times.
I mean, I had a friend in high school who I really wanted to hate. Because she was, she modeled for 17 magazine, and she was gorgeous. And, she used to complain that, she couldn't keep weight on, so she had to go out to ice cream, because if she got too skinny, the magazine didn't like her, whatever. You want to hate that person, right? It's easy to hate that person. But I couldn't hate her because she was so damn nice.
Yeah, there you go.
And she ended up going to college with me, etc. So, they're not all like that. So, you're going to say, so people would say it's a catfish because, wow, you're really hot, but you also seem to be smart and funny, and that combination couldn't exist in real life.
No, I mean, I don't know. I so hate those fucking Snapchat filters.
Yeah, I hear you.
That first picture or second picture, one of her pictures. Mm-hmm, I honestly felt like you saw 10% of who the fucking person was.
Right. And it was her first picture. And I think that was her mistake.
Yeah.
That was a big mistake for the first pick.
And I'm just like, if you're only showing 10% of yourself, go fight. Like you're right. I just loathsome. So, right. I mean, that's her picture for a fucking dating app. Not
the picture for the circle.
Not the picture for the circle.
Right. But again, going back to the whole idea about catfishing and using a skin, whatever, it's Seaburn, right?
Yeah.
/ Rebecca.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing it pretty seamlessly. I'm amazed that he hasn't got caught up quite yet.
Yeah, he's had a couple of hiccups here and
there. But people don't seem to notice of it. Like, obviously, we're going to talk about the whole period cramps conversation.
Yeah.
But even with the slip ups, at least we have not seen anybody say
no. It's crazy.
And I think if that had happened, we would have seen it.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we had
the slip up. Yeah, they're all. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We had the slip up last week where he didn't know that Chris was gay.
Right.
Because every girl has amazing gaydar.
I would think guys would also have enough gaydar to realize that Chris is gay. But
I don't know. Maybe it was anti-wishful thinking. I don't know.
Yeah.
there was some kind of mental block there that's preventing him from realizing that Chris was gay. I don't know. Maybe they were just on picture one and he was just like, maybe.
Right. No, I mean, it becomes much more clear in picture 2 when he's wearing all the makeup.
Yes. So, and then especially picture 3, Jesus Christ, come on. Right.
Right. But again, because if you think about it, we are reacting to Chris again. We hear his voice, we see his mannerisms and everything.
And they're not.
Right. So I was going to say, just based on that first picture and what he's saying, I don't know even how they made, I mean, it was a good call, but how did they make that call that he was gay? I'm not even completely sure.
You know, and that's a big thing that we don't really account for, while watching this. They're not hearing those fucking voices, and diction and everything else goes so far in assumptions and perceptions.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you're taking away all of the external cues that normally one would use, right, to get to know somebody and know whether they're telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me on Survivor, I learned the tells before I went out there. You're subtracting almost every tell from me. Right. It's purely and that's the only reason why you can get away with it as a catfish, I think. Yeah. So the biggest thing I'm looking for is a tell, just based on messaging alone and nothing else, just probably pauses. And that's why Rebecca's is so strong for being quote unquote shy. Those pauses make sense because a shy person would take an extra second. But there are already pauses. Again, if you haven't figured this out, this is not a voice activated app, right? This is production where you say, message, blah, 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 blah. And somebody from production types that in and puts it up on the screen. And they even said a couple of times, I think Miranda said something at one point, like they were just being frustrated about how long it takes for people to get back to her. So if I am right about this, and I think I am. Okay, so it's not a voice process, right? Okay. So it is going to take a few seconds. Oh wow! Which also gives her enough time to think. I mean, it's possible again that's why she went for that Seaburn did decide to have her be shy, to give himself that time. But it wasn't even necessary. Well, I mean, having an extra second or two can always be good. Yeah, but like you said, but the difference between an instantaneous response and a 2-second pause, people are not going to be able to see the difference. Yeah, no, I thought it was I thought it was voice activated. I don't think so. Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, so because because I should have figured that out. I have the brains of Joey. Well, and again, they never told us. Well, I mean, because they're just the winky face or I think a computer would have difficulty figuring out the emojis. Right, and if you think about it also, and they're not even they don't necessarily know a specific name for an emoji. Like you would have to search it. It's just I want that one with the whatever, and they magically come up with the right emoji. Yeah. So, okay. All right, so Alex, just one other funny thing with that, and I'll let this go. That at one point, Chris was talking about having a kiki with somebody, and they actually on the app, quote unquote, it came out as Kiki, Key. Yeah, which I thought was funny. What is Kiki? A kiki, it's how to describe. It is a common term used in the gay community. It's basically you're gonna have a hangout, it's hangout/party. You want to spend time with somebody and be festive. It's a kiki. Okay. But I thought it was funny that whoever was in production didn't recognize the term, and so they wrote key. How is it spelled? I think it's Kiki. Okay. I mean, check Urban Dictionary, but I'm pretty sure it's when I saw it spelled out, I was just like, I am out of the loop on this. Well, it doesn't make any sense if you've never heard. Like I said, I watched too much RuPaul's Drag Race. Sure, no, okay. Yeah. I remember RuPaul's TV debut was Real Sex on HBO. Oh, really? He was on Real Sex? Yep. Yeah. So how many, 15 years ago? More, I think. So, yeah, I mean, it was that led to the Supermodel song. Right. Which then led to everything else. That was the first. Interesting. Yeah, debut. Mm-hmm. So, Alex/Adam gives a giant bear to Rebecca. Right. It made me so happy. I mean, I think that was the right pick for Rebecca.
Right, rather than the roses. So what were the options? There was roses.
Yeah, the cat onesie.
Right.
Which Sammy would have liked, and apparently Adam would have liked as well.
Right. I would wear that.
Yeah, and then a sexy negligee.
Right. Well, that definitely would not have worked with Rebecca. Right. No. So maybe he was right to go for the bear.
I think Miranda would have been all in on the sexy negligee.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Sammy.
No, Sammy would have liked the cat onesie.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But she also likes being sexy.
She likes wearing as little as possible. I am very much noticing this.
Right. Oh yeah, something else. I don't know if you noticed this. I didn't notice it last week, but I noticed it now. In that, picture with the crop top and not much else on.
Yeah.
Do you know what the T-shirt says?
Yeah. I have no tits or something.
Have no tits. I just thought that was funny.
I love that. Yeah, I got that too. And I paid attention after that. I'm just like, you're a girl, you're good. So,
right. I like her.
Yeah. No, and she's all about her ass. So that's why.
Right. And if I had an ass like that, maybe I'd, behave that way also. Who knows?
What's the deal on nudity?
It is Netflix. So in theory, they could show whatever they want.
Are they kind of given the deal? Like, it's just like, because does the shower have the opaque deal like Big Brother? I feel like it does.
Right, well, but they also have the bathtub, like when Adam was in the bathtub.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that works. It's possible that production sees everything, but they don't show anything. Because there doesn't seem to be any place even like where they could go, if you need to change your clothes or whatever. They do seem to have cameras everywhere, including in the bathroom.
Yeah. So, you think the rule is if you want to be if you're walking around the living room or kitchen naked, we can show it. But if you are, I'm guessing,
possible. Yeah. There's
it's not an unwritten rule because they're aware of it. If you're changing clothes in the bedroom or getting in the bath, we're not going to show that. But if you come into the living room or kitchen, we can.
Right.
And no one's choosing to.
Right.
Or they could just be saying, if you're naked, we're not going to show it wherever you are.
Right. That could also just be a production decision, but they've had 11 people, and so maybe they haven't. There's a nudist who's being told to keep their clothes on.
Likely. Well, I'm wondering on the UK, did they show anyone naked?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Why are you expecting you get a cast full of reality people and you feel like at least one of them is going to be naked?
Yeah. It would have helped my fucking private browser search, I'll tell you.
Well, I'm assuming, so if you go through Sammy's Insta or whatever, I'm sure that there's more pictures.
I haven't looked at any of their social media stuff, but once again, that's not going to show you everything I need to see. All right, where are we at? Let's cruise through.
So there was just a quick chat afterward that Rebecca is then talking to Mercedes, Sammy, and Miranda, and just telling the girls about the bear and the message, and and Rebecca is completely disarmed. She loves all of this.
Yeah.
And Sammy is making gagging noises. And
correct.
As we will see that next to screaming, gagging is her other favorite thing to do. And my question was, I was not sure was she butthurt because she wasn't chosen? Or does she really just not like romance?
I don't think she's into romance.
It's possible.
Yeah. I think she's just about fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's sexual, but she's not
romantic. Yeah.
I think she can work her way towards romance, but I don't think that's her initial attraction.
Right.
I think her attraction is fun.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So no, I have Rebecca spills the tea to the girls, and then Adam starts the bro chat, of course. Right. And Joey, who hated him until he showed him any attention whatsoever, and Shuby, of course, hates any dude being dudes.
I don't think. See, you're saying that. Shuby noticed and verbalized this, that Adam had never spoken to him directly in the chat.
Yeah.
Right. And my theory is that, Adam misread the situation, right? He figures out there's a bunch of, good looking people, whatever. And then there's this one nerdy guy. And he's assuming you don't have to pay attention to the nerdy guy, right? He thinks he knows who the popular kids are, and he's wrong.
He's very wrong.
Right.
So Sammy calls Joey my love, then talks squats. And Joey
that was because, remember, there was this contest that they were both trying to see who could get Joey to send them a dirty emoji.
Yes. The eggplant or the purple guy.
Or the peach, right, or the peach. I thought it was just for the eggplant, but Sammy seemed to think that the peach would also work.
Peach would have qualified.
Right. Now, my question with this, though, is the irony of this is that, Adam was not in the house or in the apartments when they made this bet. Because I feel like getting Adam to send you a dirty emoji would be, maybe it would just be too easy.
Yeah, there's like second line in, you win. So there's no challenge there. And I think Shuby knows less about the purple emoji than Joey. So that's not even a possibility.
Probably.
So no, Joey does not take the bait with Sammy because he's oblivious. And more importantly, does not understand that girls love emojis.
Right. Well, there was one of the things he said. He said, she wants me to picture dirty things in my mind and it's working. So he wasn't completely oblivious.
Yeah.
Right. But he wasn't really going to where, and there was some conversation about, her body.
Yeah, but
but she couldn't get the emoji. That was the thing. He was giving her emojis, just not the right emoji.
Yeah, his lines are horrific. So So Shuby wants Rebecca to see Adam's flirting, and he recognizes that Rebecca is smart. So that's good. A good little internal. Those guys have a really good alliance going. The Shuby Rebecca brother sister deal.
Right, and she was trying to, she was very important to her to convey it to Shuby that, even though she's really into Adam, she hasn't. I think she said forgotten her first friend.
Sure.
Right. So that alliance is going to continue to be important.
Absolutely. So then we have #this. Shuby is not aware that he was nerdy.
Do you really think that he didn't know? Or is he just being? I don't know. Maybe for UCLA he's not nerdy. I don't know.
I don't know. Someone should have clued him in by now. We also learned that half the people had no idea who Adele and Lady Gaga were.
I know. Again, if I knew who they were,
I would not have picked out. I don't know what Adele looks like. The group, the Chainsmokers.
Sure.
If you could point to any two white guys with any amount of facial hair and a plaid flannel, and tell me they're the Chainsmokers, and I would a somewhat attractive female with, I'm guessing, brown hair. You tell me that's Adele,
right?
Sure.
Although I want to hear the story about Joey getting a pic with both Lady Gaga and Adele.
I thought if you knew who they were, it was extremely impressive. But again,
I was surprised. And again, look, I'm older, so maybe but I instantly knew who they were, especially Lady Gaga. I mean, I guess she was more relevant 10 years ago. But people should know where she is.
I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan. I mean, I got it on vinyl and the other. Honestly, one of the best single sides of a 12-inch album on the planet with Poker Face and all that.
Yeah,
amazing. When he first picked that picture, I was with some of the other. I'm just like, it must be relatives or something.
Really, you also didn't know who it was?
I did not. Because I'm taking notes as so.
Right, and you weren't expecting it. It's just Joey with two women, so it's like, oh, okay, must be family members or whatever.
So Adele, I still don't know what Adele looks like. And Lady Gaga, I might have figured it out, but it's just like, how did this happen? Right. So and then we discover that Joey doesn't like anyone flirting but him. No one wants to flirt because he's not good at it. So no one must do it better.
Right. Well, he probably realized again that might be, or he thinks it's going to be one of his strengths.
Yeah. Right.
And so then he does. And again, compared to Adam, he's pretty good at it.
Sure. So next we have Mercedes and what I like to call the end game. She is called out by everyone.
Yes.
So yeah. And then
there was also but also just back to that the thing with the hashtags before we get to just want to interrupt. Sure. So with Sammy's picture, so first that they were doing the hashtags, they were doing them anonymously, and somebody hashtagged, it was Adam, but it was anonymous, said, "You could be my daddy any night." Okay. Yeah. And she kind of giggles at that. Right. And I guess Adam saw that, that worked. So he decides not anonymously. He then says, "Daddy can chain me up and teach me a lesson or two anytime."
Yeah.
And I think this might be where Joey said, there's a fine line to walk and Adam's a weirdo.
Yeah. So, and it's not, I mean, like a guy that looks like Adam doesn't need to say that.
Well, not just doesn't need to say it, wouldn't say it. Like I said, there is this line between what's kind of flirty and fun and sexy and what's just creepy.
Yeah.
And Adam keeps crossing that line.
Like Alex is guessing what Adam would do, but he's not Adam and he's guessing poorly. Right. Adam is never saying that.
Even looking like Adam.
Yeah.
If he acted like this, he'd meet a lot of women, but I don't think any of them would hang around for very long.
No, seconds. Literal seconds. They're just like, oh my God, this is the biggest good-looking douchebag on the planet. So no, I don't as I said, I think this guy secretly wants to be Adam and he thinks this is Adam and he is wrong on every level.
Right. Well, because if he realized the difference and he learned and he knew how to flirt without being gross, then even as Alex, he would probably be much more successful socially.
Yeah.
Or you're just saying, but he doesn't even try because he's Alex and he figures women aren't going to respond to him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? We can't psychoanalyze Alex. It's hard to know. Right.
Too much. All right. So
Mercedes gets called out and, hard.
Yes. Hard. Yeah. So then we go to the ranking. Mercedes is the lowest.
Right.
With the bullets. Miranda, number 6. Once again, I just don't think I think the problem with Miranda is, as I said, she dug herself a hole early because I think that Sammy has the ear of several people.
Right.
And that initial catfish line from Miranda to Sammy, I think was a joke.
Right. There were several things that she said initially when she first came in
I think
people didn't like. And this thing about, first impressions tend to last.
Yeah, but I don't think she meant, I don't think she thought Sammy was a killer. I don't think she thought the catfish thing was such a big theme there.
Because she was new. Again, she didn't know. You can't read the room. She didn't know.
Yeah. So she's just like,
the absolute worst thing you can be. Right?
Yeah. So she's like, you're so pretty. You're a catfish, obviously. And I think it was a joking line. And
he's trying to give her a compliment, right?
Yeah. And Sammy's just like, how could you? Number one, I'm beautiful and I'm not a catfish, and you're destroying my game. And it's just like there's the worst that's worse than farting in church.
Right. But then even beyond that, I do think the other problem that Miranda has had is, with the exception of that one conversation with Joey about growing up in foster care.
Yeah.
We don't really know anything about her.
Yeah, we don't.
She really has not given people much to form a relationship.
Anyone. Because I think that initial blast of just be like, hey, I'm Randy, here's me and I'm fun. And then the backlash of that, she's like, well, fuck, everything I say is getting me in trouble. Maybe I should
that's why she got quiet.
I should just shut the fuck up. Yep.
But she did have that conversation with Joey. And that's what made me realize that she does have the ability and she does have stories she could tell that would make people be very sympathetic toward her.
Good final jury stories. I mean, we have one from Sammy coming up later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's the thing we talked about, with the circle, that being authentic and vulnerable is so important. And if you can't do that, and I understand the tendency to, hold your cards close to your chest. You're game for $100,000 and you're on TV, and there's certain things you might not want to talk about, but to whatever extent you can do it, you're going to last longer in the game.
Yeah. So, so we end up with Sammy and Shuby as our influencers, and they get the blue tick. Now, have you ever heard of blue tick outside of the UK?
I picked up on that also. And that did make me wonder whether either that they had all watched the UK seasons, which I think is highly unlikely, or that production is using the word tick, because it is the same production company as the UK.
Okay.
So maybe when they were explaining the game to them or whatever, and you're an influencer, they must have heard. So somebody must have said to them blue tick. Because I also I was surprised the first time we heard that, and then we heard it from not everybody, but almost everybody.
Yeah, right. Shuby, and
then Shuby is of this cast. Shuby is the one person who I might suspect might have watched the UK seasons.
Yeah, I think so. And as I said, I think Chris,
maybe Chris.
He's just smart,
right?
So, I just think the smarter. There we go. The smarter people,
right?
Probably.
Right.
Figured it out, or at least said, let me look. I mean, as I said, I think a pretty simple Google search, because I'm sure they use very vague enough stuff that if you type those words into a Google search, it's going to take you to the fucking circle.
Well, especially because the UK circle, had already been out.
Yeah.
Right. And so, maybe. But it's not just Chris and Shuby. Again, I didn't make a list, but I think it was even more than the two of them. There were 4 or 5 people who used the term blue tick.
Have you ever heard that before, other than the UK circle?
No. I spent a summer in the UK and whatever, and I lived overseas.
Is tick another word for check?
Yes. Okay. But it's definitely not an American thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have the blue check mark.
Right, and they call it a blue tick. Oh. So, like I said, either they all watch the UK, which I think is unlikely, or production is using that word.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because on Survivor, we're pulled aside to do confessionals.
Right.
And that's what we call them. It's just like, hey, I got to go do a confessional, or, they're calling me for a confession. Like that is our vocabulary.
Right.
And, and that wasn't anything that was taught to us. So then, I do a show called Kill Reality, and we have people from the real world and the challenges and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, they go to take them for, what the survivors call a confessional. They're just like, oh, I have to go do an OTF. It's like an OTF. They're just like, on the fly interview.
On the fly, right.
Yeah. And I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? and so then, I hear some survivors, calling them OT. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. It's a fucking confessional.
So you think confessional was actually that's a term that started with Survivor? Just curious. We're getting off track, but I'm
thinking the term is OTF, but Survivor's production is so hard about zero communication with production and the talent,
right?
That if they hear, we call it a confessional just because of as a viewer, we call it a confessional. So they're not gonna course correct out there because they don't want us using the word OTF out there because So
yeah, because if it ends up,
like
then they can't put it on the show, and you can't put it on the show, right, etc.
Yeah. So, but they're very like every other show. When I did Ty Murray's Celebrity Bull Riding, this guy came up to me. He was just like, Jonny Fairplay. I was just like, hello, and he was just like, I lived with you for 38 days, and I'm just like, where? And he was just like, Survivor, and I was just like, I don't, and he was just like, you're right. He goes, why would I even think? Because we're not allowed to communicate with them. They're not allowed to like you have at any given time. There's a producer, and then there's camera guys, sound guys, and all that. You can talk to a producer,
right?
But no one else.
Right. So this guy who was on the beach with you for 38 days is not a producer. He was doing a different job.
Yeah, he was doing it, and they, I mean, every day, like, whatever. Like, maybe he changed my mic or something, and there's very limited communication.
Right, and there's a lot of people, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but he goes, and I was just like, well, nice to meet you. I was like, you guys did a great job. Thank you for showing my good side. I don't know. So the blue ticket is just it's bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, it would make sense. They're filming in London,
right? In Salford, actually, which is closer up to Manchester. But yeah,
sure. But they're filming over there, so they're getting that. So they're just hearing production say that.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Okay, Chris is the smartest guy in the house that knows it, and Shuby is the smartest guy in the house that doesn't know it.
I just wanted to, before we go forward into that conversation, I just wanted to ask you what you thought about something. I don't know if you caught this.
Yeah.
Joey says, before the influencer chat, Joey says, Adam is probably eating pizza naked on the couch and watching all of this, right? And then we get a cut to Adam. Well, first, the announcer says, please don't be naked. Please don't be naked.
Right.
And we cut to Adam lying on the couch eating pizza.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a coincidence. Unless production heard Joey say that, get him a pizza, they got him a pizza and told him to lie on the couch. Any thoughts? I
mean, could be luck of the, who knows? I mean,
it's a small thing, but it just bothered me.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't impact the game, but
no. So, do you like our narrator on the U.S. version, or do you like the two girls? Or so on are the two girls from season 1? Do they remain for season 2?
No, I think they're both different.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's also the writers. I mean, because that's the point. I have heard, again, I can't prove this, that they have the same writers as the UK version did. Okay. So I don't think it's, I like the announcer. And a lot of people, they love the announcer, but the announcer is not nearly as good, even as they are in the UK. I mean, you've heard. I thought the UK was very funny.
But I don't dislike the US.
No, she's fine. I mean, they're doing much less of it.
Yeah,
but the lines that she's supposed to read, she reads them pretty well. She's fine.
I think she's serviceable.
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah,
right.
So okay.
But I felt in the UK the announcer was another character, and often the funniest character, and that I feel like we're not really getting to the same extent. But anyway.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. So now where were we? You were in the influencer chat.
As I said, Chris, I think smartest guy. Rebecca is always playing it safe. Miranda, the catfish line was a joke. Manipulative Mercedes, could have been a shield.
Right, and I found that very interesting because Shuby, of course, is the one who says,
"Sure."
Right, Mercedes. Everybody thinks she's a catfish, so we can use her as a shield. And my first question to myself was, does Shuby watch Survivor or Big Brother? Because we're throwing this term around about using somebody as a shield. I don't think
Shuby has Survivor Watcher written all over him.
Right. Because that's not a term that one would normally use about using somebody else as a shield.
Yeah. No.
He's a reality TV watcher. Okay.
Yeah. So
again,
at least Survivor, maybe even both Survivor and Big Brother. He's probably not watching the challenge.
Probably not.
It's a little too cool for Shuby.
It's too cool for me to watch the challenge.
Too cool for me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Shuby is hoping Mercedes was the catfish. Why does he think there's a catfish and not none and not more than one?
Good question. Now, again, something we know from the UK version is that generally there are two or three catfishes in the house. There's going to be more than one, but less than half.
Okay.
But again, this is the first the first season. So, I don't know why he thinks for every reason that there would only be one catfish.
Yeah, he seems pretty confident that there's only one.
Right. And I don't know. And again, give somebody who is a decent game player, I don't know why he made that assumption, because it's a big assumption and he's wrong.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, like, as I said, like it could be there's other options, and he has subtracted those from the equation.
Right. I was just saying, he's played so well generally that it is kind of just, surprising when he says something that is just clearly wrong, because it doesn't happen very often.
I almost feel like production said there could be a catfish, and he took them at their literal words.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, I mean, because like I know I've dissected the exact word, and it's like, well, but generally, and it's just like, well, no, but generally you didn't say that, motherfucker. You said
right, and generally there's not just one catfish, because that would be important, because then if the catfish goes home, then what, they have to bring in another catfish? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So no, I think that production may have said there could be a catfish, and he's holding them to that article.
Or maybe we're just giving him too much credit, because we do think he is such a good game player.
Yeah.
Right. That we don't think he would just say something stupid and random, but it's possible he said something stupid and random, and it's going to affect his game. Sorry about that. That was my phone.
Okay. All right. All right. So
Mercedes is going home, right?
We see Mercedes go home, and she gets to choose where she's going to go.
Right.
And she chooses Chris, and what I consider the first real feel-good moment of the show.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
that smile once she comes around the wall right there from Chris. I mean, like, I didn't cry, but I literally teared up, because like I just felt it was just raw emotion.
Yeah.
So he was so happy that, like, that he was chosen, that that it wasn't the girl in the picture, and he preferred that person that walked around the corner than that whatever that Snapchat filter thing was.
Right. And I do think that Mercedes, again, changed what she was doing throughout the show, even though it was only a few days, because she says to Chris, the pictures were just, she calls it a Halloween mask. And she says, if you close your eyes and spoke to me, you would have the same love for me. So by the end of the game, she's treating Mercedes like a skin. But the problem is, at the beginning, she was playing along with Alana and the Skinny Girls chat and all that. And it's possible that, again, that's one of the reasons why Sammy never liked her.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, that was very touching, and I hope that they stay in touch, and they really are friends, because there does seem to be a real, really friendship, relationship.
I did love the fact that Joey had an extra wine glass for no fucking reason whatsoever.
You gotta be prepared.
It's like, I'm surprised he didn't have a condom sitting beside his. Like, I mean, there's this one time I said something that was a horrible line, and I think I don't remember. I'm not taking notes, but I
wouldn't even go that far. I mean, there's a female involved, and so you just want to be prepared.
Yeah. So,
but it was interesting. Like, people were afraid. Like, Sammy particularly was afraid that Mercedes was going to come, because Alana did, right? Alana did use that moment to call somebody out, but generally that's not what happens. At least in the UK version, people want to go meet somebody that they had a bond with.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So anyway, so the idea about just wanting to get kind of meet your best friend on the way out, and again see who they are, etc. That didn't make sense. That was fine.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yes.
So when we see that, we get some comments from people that they say the catfish seemed genuine.
Who said that? Do you remember?
I believe it was Sammy, and I'm like, I think that's the biggest oxymoron on the show.
Yes.
The catfish seemed genuine.
Well, again, if you don't use the term catfish literally.
Yes.
Then, it is, like, again, it was certainly very true in both of the UK versions that there were catfishes who were still very genuine people. They just weren't who they said they were.
Sure. So Chris starts the tea spilling. I cannot stop seeing Chris as Bryce Isaiah.
I think they would get along.
I'm just like season 2. I'm sure the petition has already begun. If Bryce Isaiah is not on there as their at least one gay male representative, then they are severely dropping the ball.
He would be amazing on the show.
I mean, I feel he would be Chris turned up to 10.
Yes.
So I think Chris is great, but I think he's leaving a little on the table, whereas Bryce will give them more than enough to work with.
Yes.
so yeah. So with the tea spilling, Sammy is quick to join, and the Adam Rebecca, the Adam and Rebecca exchange was very gay.
Right. Which one you talking about? When the two of them were talking alone?
Yes. It's. Adam wants something, and I think, Alex wants something, and I think he loses himself in Adam. And I think that what's the guy that plays Rebecca?
Seaburn. Mm-hmm.
I think he gets a little too into the Rebecca character sometimes.
Well, certainly in this conversation, yeah. And in others, right? He's enjoying. He's having fun with this in terms of playing a woman.
I think sometimes he gets lost though, like lost in that I think he has a full grasp of it. I think he's one of the smartest players in the house. Right. I think he's great.
Right.
But I think every now and then he loses himself in Rebecca.
It's incredibly hard to do, right? And I've heard people again, before the show started, like there's no way that anybody's going to be able to make it as a catfish. They're going to be found out immediately. Yeah. And she's doing a good enough job, or he's doing a good enough job.
Yeah, as these slip ups that he's had, he's not getting caught.
Right, but of course, I mean, it's hard to play somebody else 24/7.
Yeah.
At some point, you are making a mistake. But I just found that whole conversation really interesting because she says to him, "Did you talk to Sammy or Amanda?" And Adam's answer is, yes, I've talked to her, but not nearly as much as I've talked to you. I'm still your cuddle toy. And he says, I'll still talk to Sammy, but it's you I'm thinking of. And to me, this is every guy trying to manipulate every girl ever. And I wonder if if this gives Rebecca a kind of a view into male behavior, right? Because as a guy, he's not used to this.
Yeah.
Not being gaslit, but it's almost like it, And again, she kind of, as close as Rebecca turns on anybody, because, Rebecca's nice. But after that, I feel like Rebecca does kind of turn on Adam again, whereas Adam is patting himself on the back for how that conversation went. Right. And
Adam is proud of everything that he does.
Right. And at the same time, and Rebecca says she's going to keep him in her back pocket until the right time, and it will be beautiful.
Yeah.
And the narrator, in one of her best lines, then calls this the realest relationship in there, which is true.
Very much so.
Right.
Very much so.
But I love these conversations between two catfishes. Right.
Yeah, I do too. It's fun. So we then have the push-up challenge.
Oh gosh.
And of course, the only unathletic person in the conversation is the only one that actually does it and is beating himself up about it.
Right, because he couldn't do it faster. Well, I mean, I don't think Alex is that athletic, and Alex played the entire conversation, in the bathtub.
Oh yeah,
right, so you can
and he's like, what asshole stops at 45?
Right.
you don't have abs like that and stop at fucking 45.
But he's taking a break or whatever. Yeah, but Shuby very much wants to fit in.
He wants to and as I said, I think he hates when dudes are dudes. Like he's just like, oh, this isn't me. But I think he's willing to do anything to be a dude.
Right. And again, is that in his real life, or is it just, again, he's trying to win some money?
I think it's real life. No, I think this is real. I think this is thus far is the greatest week of his entire life, because he's like when they're doing the rankings,
mm-hmm.
and then he finds that someone's gonna he's packing. He's just like, if this thing is a fucking popularity contest, it's already over. I know I'm the only loser here.
Yeah.
So the fact that
what you're saying, though, it's interesting. It's kind of reminding me of Christian, on Survivor, and
sure.
like he wants to be in Slam Town, and the fact that John Hennigan gave him what was the position he got, the comptroller of Slam Town. The
comptroller, yes.
So yeah, it's the same thing, right? He's having conversations again and being accepted by people that he never thought he was going to be accepted by.
Yeah, the cool kids are letting him hang out. They're doing a competition that they're not taking. They're vaguely taking it seriously, according to Shuby. They're not even fucking doing it, but according to Shuby, they're and he's all in, and he's just like. And
Chris goes to get some chips, right? Chris is playing this properly.
Yeah,
and Shuby, and then we saw him even later, just as the episodes continue. We see him like doing push-ups.
Oh yeah,
Suddenly he's trying to work out. Right.
Well, I think there was more to because like you hear the conversation go further. They're talking about the push-ups and the crunches and whatever. So I think Shuby. I think that was a much more exhaustive competition between the guys.
Right.
I think it was several challenges that we just saw the one. Right. And I think during that challenge, he learned what a crunch was.
That's possible.
Right. And so he's added that to his daily routine. Just like, because my good friend Adam does 100 crunches a day.
And look at what Adam looks like. So I want to do it too. Yeah.
I can at least do 75 a day, as Adam does is probably doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed that, Shuby got up to 50 push-ups.
I loved it.
I don't know how long it took, but he did it. Yeah. So, good on him.
Piper's least, my daughter Piper, for those watching or listening that's not aware, Piper turns 12 next week, and her least favorite person when the game started was Shuby. Yeah. And I don't think that's the case. Well, I don't know. May still be the case. She was up. She wasn't watching with me because, as I said, I started early this morning and then just finished. She was right before she went to bed tonight. She was at the Mercedes exit.
Okay.
And she liked her. That was one of her favorite characters. She loves the idea of the catfisher.
Right.
So like that's because I don't think she's ever seen the show Catfish. So this is like, all new tier. It's just like, how brazen.
Right.
To go onto a show and pretend to be someone else.
Right. But again, if she, likes competition, if she likes the good game players, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And in this game, often at least, you're going to assume that the catfishes, might be, the best players in there. Certainly they're doing everything they can to win the game. I mean, lots of times they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
But, let's put it this way, they're certainly generally more interesting.
Yeah, no, and
just watching people try to do it, pull it off, not pull it off, etc.
Yeah, and she watched what the first 6 episodes of the UK season 1 with me, and she loved Freddie.
Right.
So,
okay.
So.
Right. Okay.
All right. So.
Miranda and Joey, and Miranda's attempt to get a dirty emoji out of Joey.
Yes, and he doesn't actually know what the eggplant emoji means because he sucks. He says the purple guys, what kind of pepper is that? Right. And yes, and so then we have a new player.
Yep.
We have Sean.
Right.
Who is a social media manager for plus size gals.
Right.
She uses her friend Colleen's photos, which I feel are too good.
Right.
Just ridiculously too good.
Right. It's the same thing, that even if she wants to be thinner and, more conventionally attractive, I would you want to pick out somebody. You don't want to be a 10. You want to be a 6.5.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, or at least a fucking Oklahoma 10, not a fucking LA New York, 10. LA, right. London 10.
Right. So, I mean, in her defense, I mean, Karen just picked out some random person, right? At least in this case, it's somebody she knew. And she figures, my friend is, really attractive. She gets lots of attention from guys. I'll use her photos.
Yeah.
And again, not knowing that can actually be a minus in this game.
Yeah, huge minus. I
mean, they're not wrong that being physically attractive is important, but there's a certain level after which it makes people suspicious of you.
But I don't think anyone was suspicious
of Sean. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least not so far.
No, yeah. So, which is really troubling. And like, once again, I think Shuby's just like, we got rid of the one catfish.
Right. Well, it might also be because with Alana, everybody thought, or almost everybody thought she was probably a catfish. And then when she was real, they might have been like, oh, and again, this is a TV show, right?
Yeah,
they're pretty people. So she's another pretty person. Right.
They're casting attractive people. That's what you do on TV shows.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
and next plot twist. There's also best friend Bill, who likes to refer to himself as best friend Bill a lot.
But you know what? Even if he's doing it, I don't know whether it's because he's trying to brand or he's trying to remind himself. But again, it's a good strategy, right? Rather than just trying to flirt with the women. His goal is to be everybody's best friend, which I think is what you should be doing.
That I think that's the closest someone has gotten to understanding how the fucking game works,
right?
Of anyone that has walked into the apartment complex thus far.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't find Bill to be particularly interesting, just as a character.
No,
but he does seem to understand the goal of the game, and he hasn't made any huge mistakes yet. So good on Bill.
No, he's fine. So, he is 26 in the auto industry from Chicago. He hates positive messages on Instagram, as do I. I am very anti-positive messages as well. I mean, like, if you see a positive message that makes you happy, just look at it.
You don't have to share it with everybody.
No, that's enough. I'm very anti-negativity as well. Like, like I go on Twitter, like, I don't even fucking mute. I just block. I'm just like,
so you don't like positive messages or negative messages?
Nope. Just middle of the road.
Yeah.
I think I like informative. I like funny.
But that might be the argument about how to play the game. Again, you don't want to be too negative, and maybe you don't want to be too positive.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has called Rebecca out for just being so sweet all the time. I don't think. Has anybody said anything about it?
I don't think. Well, I
but at some point, I would wonder whether that's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. There's only. I mean,
we have 4 more episodes.
There's 4 more episodes and 20 more people entering the end. I do love the fact that. I take that back.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they do the alert, these assholes have to do the stupid drum roll thing.
And they all have to say, alert, alert, alert.
Yeah, I don't mind the alert, but the fucking drum roll thing, I'm just like, go fuck yourselves. So when they do the fucking stupid drum roll and then we get the, who the fuck are Sean and Bill? I was happy about that. It's just like, yeah, that's for the fucking drum roll, assholes. If you hadn't done the drum roll, it'd be 1 motherfucker. But no, you have to do the drum roll. You're getting 2, so fuck your game.
The other thing that I don't understand is that they're like, who are Sean and Bill? Like, they've been playing the game. This is not the first time, right, that somebody got blocked and somebody else came in. So what is the big mystery about who are Sean and Bill?
Yeah.
They're the 2 people, right? Because somebody went home, so we got new people. Yes, we got 2 people rather than 1 person, but shouldn't be such a huge surprise.
Yeah. So we find out that Sean and Bill are going to be team captains in trivia, and I too love trivia. And if you're looking for a trivia shirt at home, go to JonnyFairplay.com. I have a Quiz Tina Aguilera shirt, which is the name of my trivia team for fucking 15 years now. And I have a cool
probably more topical at the time you started.
Sure. I
play bar trivia also, and I might have to steal that name because we don't have a good name. So
it's a good one.
Yeah.
I do like this comment from Lotus Pedal on here on the YouTube.
Yes.
Fuck your good vibes, bro.
We love you too, Lotus.
Yeah, see? So they do the trivia, and shockingly, Joey does not get picked by our two new super cool team captains.
Oh yeah. Just one other thing I noticed, though, I find this amusing. Sometimes I just want to see like what they're writing with the magnets and the message boards.
Yeah.
So in Shuby's apartment above his stove, the magnets say "Broy Joey forever."
Oh, he finally switched it from the social media Medusa.
No. That's the message board. This is the magnets. They have two ways of.
Okay.
Anyway, I just found it was amusing. Okay. So they're doing trivia, right? I have the picks, but yeah, and of course Sammy and Shuby get picked first, and Joey calls them both suck-ups because they both have the blue check. But maybe he's not wrong. They're new people, right? You don't know anything about these people. Start with the influencers.
I didn't see it as that. I mean, like, I think Sammy might have been an influencer pick, but I think Shuby was just the fucking smartest motherfucker pick.
Right, because they see him, he graduated from UCLA, he must be smart.
Yeah. So
because they already saw their pictures, right? And so we see his graduation picture.
Yeah, so I didn't see that as I mean, like Sammy, yeah, and I guess since they were both the influencers and they were both the first two picks, that could easily be the perception, and that could have easily been the reasoning. Right. But I did not see the Shuby pick as a influencer pick. I thought if I'm picking without that blue check beside his name, he's my first pick, and he's one of the fucking worst people.
Right. But you're saying based on the picture and knowing that he graduated from UCLA, or just you're figuring, he's an Indian guy, but you're being racist, but he's probably smart. No,
the UCLA and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just found it interesting that they were so impressed that, he went to UCLA. I mean, UCLA is a good school, but I don't know if that makes you a genius. But as we see when we're playing this game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just
because Shuby thinks that the Liberty Bell is in DC. And then he picks Boston as the city. So maybe not such a great pick for trivia.
So I was in shock. All right, so the first question was, what team is this? It was the Houston Astros, which I can't imagine it took Bill as long as they showed it to take Bill. I mean, like, Bill looks like a cool college guy that fucking has watched fucking baseball in his fucking life. You know who the fuck the Houston Astros are. Like, that wasn't a trick fucking question in any way. Right. But shockingly, Alex is so committed to be the cool guy that he is not.
Right.
He has a fucking book on sports.
Right, and I'm not sure what that book was. It was like almost like a little pamphlet. I would love to know what that book was.
I think it was the sports almanac that Biff Tannen had on Back to the Future to make it.
Well, you know what? If that's true, I mean, good on him, because he did realize, I'm playing a catfish. I'm playing a guy who looks like he would be into sports. I know nothing about sports, so at least I'm gonna. And that is one of the other good things with the circle is you can bring in book. You can bring in aids.
You can bring in one thing, and it doesn't matter what that one thing is, as we find out later.
Oh, they bring in a lot more from one thing.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I
don't think it's like a luxury item in Survivor. I think they bring all kinds of stuff.
Okay. So I thought that, as I said, I still hate Adam/Alex, but I think that was a very smart move for him to bring a sports book.
Yep.
Next one. I always thought the show was called Sex in the City.
Thank you. That was me too. And I was so surprised. And
I actually looked it up, and I was just like, okay, because I'm just like, they got it wrong.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. When they said Sex in the City, I figured they gave it to him like, close enough.
Yeah.
And then when they said Sex in the City, that was wrong. So I also had to go look it up.
You looked it up too.
Yeah.
You're just like, you motherfucker! Like these people can sue at the end of this because you fucked up their game by saying an answer. So, but no,
they were right.
For those of you that don't know, the show was called Sex and the City.
Yep.
No fucking, I feel like an idiot for 20 fucking years. So I will say a quick side note. So I worked, but before Survivor, I was Roddy Piper's personal assistant. And I think before that, like when I first moved to Los Angeles, I had got a job at a clothing store on the Promenade. They were about to open. So I was helping the owner set up the store. And so we had the windows were like papered over, so you couldn't see inside while we're getting the store together. And every day at we go have lunch at noon or 1. I remember one day like we were listening, like Californication had just come out, I believe that, and so we were listening to the CD as we were working, and as we walked out of the door, Anthony Kiedis walks by, like right, and I'm just like, holy shit! We're like, we were just listening, like what are, I'm like, what are the odds? I'm like, oh, it's fucking Los Angeles.
Yes,
like, the odds are great. Yes. He wasn't singing, Ohio fornication. He was singing Californication. So I get it. But every day there was a homeless guy that was on a bench right near the store. That he had funny signs. He'd have it's just like need beer money. He was the honest bum,
right?
And so I would actually talk to like I'm killing time, and have a seat and just like hey, how's it going, blah blah blah, right. And we had, to whatever degree of friendship, we would right. chat because I'd see him, so often. Right. And so I remember one day he was like, he goes, "Did you watch Sopranos last night?" This is a Monday. And I was just like, yeah. Did you? And he was like, fuck yeah, that was crazy. And I'm just like, you watched Sopranos? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and how was that? and he goes, I make about $140 a day panhandling. And me and my buddy, we pick 2 days a week to actually get a hotel to shower and stuff. Otherwise we live, on the underpasses and stuff like that. And we always choose Sunday, and we always have a hotel that has HBO. So I can watch Sopranos and Sex and the City. I was like, this motherfucker's watching Sex and the City.
I mean, I guess you can't just live under the underpass 24 hours a day, right? You get bored, you got to go watch some TV.
So there you go.
Now you have to have a phone, but what you're talking about back then, it's long before we had TV episodes on our phones.
Yeah. So and the average pull for a homeless guy with clever signs in the promenade on in Santa Monica was $140 a day.
That's not bad.
No. Not bad at all. And he wasn't an asshole. Like sometimes I'd bring back my food. Sometimes they have the need food sign, and you give them food and they fucking throw it in the trash. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, I can't buy crack with this sandwich.
The need beer money, it probably helped, right? Probably people would, even if they wouldn't have given, they see that, they laugh, they give them $1.
Yeah. So yeah.
And
so
enough, only in LA would you be homeless on that kind of an income, right?
Right. Oh yeah. That won't get you anything. $140 a day times 5, but no, that's right. So yeah. I'm
glad that you bonded with the homeless guy.
Yeah, no, he was a nice guy. So we also learned that Joey knows all 3 Jonas brothers by name.
And I like what the announcer said with that. She said, Joey knows who Kevin Jonas is and Chris doesn't, and I'm not sure who I'm more embarrassed for.
Yeah. That was odd. I mean, because Joey, he's so quick just to say shit. He's like just one of those guys that just loves to talk, I think. And he's like, and he's just like, and he's naming all 3 so easily after that. And
but you feel like you shouldn't have known who the Jonas brothers were or who they are? Like who their names were?
I think he just says words to say words, and he's just doing anything to grab any scrap of TV time possible. He's one of those guys.
Because I actually do know the names of all 3 of them, but I certainly couldn't have told you, which one is not in the picture.
Yeah, I just assumed it was Nick. So like Mikey B from Survivor Fans versus Favorites. His wife is Aurora Culpo, maybe. Anyway, well now it's Bortone. So, but her sister was Miss Universe, and she was dating Nick Jonas, and she broke up with him and started dating think Danny Amendola for the Patriots, and now she's dating McCaffrey for the Carolina Panthers. And
this is Mikey B's wife's sister?
Yes, Mikey B's wife's sister.
Mikey B outkicked his coverage, it sounds like. I mean, I don't know what the sister looks like, but normally they don't look so different.
Oh, she's beautiful. Yeah, no. Mikey B's a stud. So yeah. So anyway, so Mikey B's wife is hanging out with myself and my daughter Piper, and and Nick Jonas comes up, and Piper is livid. She tells Mikey B's wife, she goes, "Please explain to your sister that was a bad move, and to call Nick Jonas back up, apologize, and get back with him. There is no football player on the planet that is cooler than Nick Jonas." So I don't know. So my guess, I would have said the only Jonas that I know by name is Nick. And for my good friend Mikey B, I vote Nick, and I would have got it wrong, and I'd be like, "Damn you, Mikey B!" So
at least you knew one of the names, right? Like Chris didn't even know one of the names.
Yeah. Well, isn't one of them Joe?
Yeah, I think it's Nick, Joe, and Kevin, right?
Okay. Yeah, Kevin. I've never heard the name Kevin Jonas in my life. So there you go.
Oh, I probably spend too much time reading, celebrity gossip. I don't think I've ever listened to one of their songs, but I know their names.
Sure.
Anyway.
So when it's all said and done, Sean's team wins, and what do they get? A video message from home. Now, for those of you that are fans of Survivor, this is very similar to the loved ones visit, and people ask me often, why do people cry so short? Like, you're not gone for that long. Why is it so emotional? And I can tell you, based on being there and also dissecting a game based on deception, which Survivor is, and very much The Circle is for the most part. To have someone you can trust communicate to you in any way is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to hear any version of guaranteed truth versus potential lies and falsehoods.
Because one of my kids might be interested in getting on Survivor, but he has said, and I've heard this, I think all three of my kids have said this, like, they make fun of the loved ones. It's been a month. Why are they crying? If I go and trust me, I'll be happy to see you and all, but I'm not going to cry. I said, you know what? You can't say that until you've been through it.
No, you will.
Right.
Guarantee, because you just need that barometer back in your life to show that Mendoza line of truth and not truth.
Right.
Because without that, you're susceptible to believing what isn't true.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I'm sure that it's an incredibly stressful situation. And even with The Circle, okay, where it's not like Survivor, they're eating, they're sleeping, they have beds, whatever. But there is still the same thing. You're cut off from your family. And the only people basically you're communicating with are people who are trying to fool you.
Yeah. Just repeatedly. Just, so just to have just that little bit, like, it's just like, okay, here's reality back. Here's someone that's not lying to me. Let me just figure out where this is and how this computes. And
does it ever take you a few minutes? I mean, obviously you know this, but like when Thunder G comes out, does it take you 5 minutes for you to say, "Oh, I don't have to lie to him. I can trust what he says to me"? Because I've heard people say when they come off of Survivor that they need to do an adjustment when they get home.
No.
Okay, I've heard of other people. Okay.
No.
Anyway.
Not for me. So they get their videos, and we hear from Joey. Rarely is Joey speechless. Well, I can say it doesn't happen often enough.
You're giving this guy such a hard time, but again, he must be, but he's a reality producer's dream, right?
Because if you're looking,
he's giving.
I mean, I'm okay with him personally. I just hate that stereotype of a character. I hate the Jersey douchebag. I hate the white trash redneck. I hate the preppy rapist.
Right. You also know that when they do reality casting, often that's what they're looking for.
Sure,
is the stereotypes.
Yeah, that's why, like, Nick Wilson, the hillbilly lawyer. I like that because it's like, he's not a fucking stupid mullet head redneck. He's a Southern born lawyer. He'll potentially be fucking state senator.
But did he still got cast in the redneck slot? Do you think
he got cast as the hillbilly lawyer? They like that dichotomy. Same with Donathan Hurley. Like, he's the redneck gay guy.
Right.
I love that because it's just like I mean,
you get a redneck and a gay in one guy.
What's that?
You get two birds with one stone when you're trying to check off your list for Survivor. You got your redneck and your gay guy.
Yeah, and like I remember watching Ghost Island with my daughter Piper, 12 years old, or 10 at the time, and at the finale, you have Donathan explaining as a gay guy from Kentucky, and Piper looks at her, she goes, "Dad, did you know Donathan was gay?" I was just like, I had a hunch.
So you do have some gaydar. It's not only women.
And apparently all women do not. But then,
well, at least your 10-year-old daughter.
Yes. So Bill has floppy hair, and girls like that, like Alec from Survivor. Sammy's aunt was her video, which I feel made for a great final jury speech.
Yeah.
So
I said about being vulnerable, that's what works here. And and she was worried, like when she shared that, I think later she said, like, she was worried that they were going to treat her differently.
Yeah.
She thought it hurt her game, that she made a mistake, and it was the opposite. I think it was exactly the right thing to do. Sure.
Adam is playing such a one-dimensional and limited game. It's it's not fun for me to watch. Like, I really like him to leave. And then as I said, I was really hoping he was going to write Rebecca and Alex forever. And
that would have been fun.
Next, what's your beauty secret to Sean? and just the diatribe from Sean as Sean's reason. I don't have one because that's not me. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
So I think it was one of those deals where it's easier said than done. I mean, for me on Survivor, the dead grandma lie was easy for me,
right.
And but I couldn't imagine, like, knowing we're probably up to 500 fucking survivors at this point. Knowing those other survivors, there's an elite class of survivors that I think that could potentially have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And even less after I have.
Right. Well, I mean, it was, especially back then when you did it, it was a big deal.
Yeah. So I think Sean going in was just like, I'm just going to, I'm going to catfish these people. I'm going to be the hot chick. This is going to be easy. And I think reality set in so quick. She's just like, fuck, like, right. This isn't me. Like,
but hasn't she said, like, basically she is just using the photos, and other than that, her responses are her, because that makes it a lot easier.
Yes, but I think it's still bothering her. Not to, like, I think
see that later. That's clearly bothering her.
Yeah, I don't think she can deal. Like, I think she told herself beforehand, this is fucking not. I don't know these fucking people. I don't fucking care. I can lie. This is for $100,000. I'm gonna be me. I'm not really lying. And then, like, she's just like, I'm a better person than this, even for a stupid fucking game show.
Well, and again, don't you see this sometimes on Survivor and Big Brother, where people say before the game, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to go in and I don't care. Again, I've never met these people. Yeah. And, within a month, right? And obviously you've had this, trauma bonding experience. But, people play the game, but they do feel guilty about voting people off or lying to them or whatever.
Sure.
With her, it happened very quickly. It was interesting.
I mean, I just think she's a really good person.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Joey's reaction though to her pictures when he saw Sean driving that really nice car. His response was, "I could marry into wealth."
I know.
So I don't think we've seen him flirting with her, but it's still on his mind, of course.
There you go. This show, Lucas Silver says, this show is so good. What the fuck? I know. Who knew? And,
if you like the show, go back and watch the UK version because, like I said, if anything, it's better.
Yeah. Lucas CF hashtag Shuby Squad or Shabby Squad, as he says. Maybe that's someone. Maybe that's the 28th person entering the apartment building. All right. So next, we also learned Shuby drives every other weekend from LA to San Francisco.
Yep, I saw that.
And people are questioning, but believe that that's true. And I believe it's true. Yeah. Has he said anything that isn't true in the house? Does he even have the ability to lie?
I mean, he doesn't have to. And especially now that he has been so successful, he keeps being an influencer. So why would he start lying?
Yeah. So no, I mean, I just think this guy has just been honest. I think it's so like his likability is there because of his honesty.
Probably.
So I think that the two go hand in hand with Shuby. Not as much with other people that honestly suck.
But speaking of him, during this conversation, Adam says something to himself. He says he needs to shut up all the Alex, right? When he's talking to Shuby, he has a tendency to drift back into being Alex because he knows that Alex would get along a lot better with Shuby than Adam's going to, right? I'm saying I think that's a mistake. Yeah. At this point, he's committed to it.
Sure.
But he really would have been much better, I think, using Adam's pictures, but being a human.
Yeah.
Because there's no humanity to me that's coming off of him.
I would hate any version of Adam / Alex. So I don't care what pictures he used. Like I hate both versions equally. So he has 0% chance of winning this game.
You keep telling yourself, you hope, right? You really don't want to be having this conversation with me next week and Adam just won the game. That would be bad.
Oh, kill me.
That might kill the show in terms of
that would kill the show.
They need a likable winner, whoever it is. And I feel like most of the people would be a likable winner except for Adam.
I would like to think if Adam makes it to the final 6 that he'll inappropriately touch a female production member and everything will take care of itself. or at least allegedly. Miranda doesn't seem to be extending herself.
Yeah, she never has.
That's
Chris says even this far into the game, Chris gives her last place because he just says, I don't know her. Yeah. It's not that she's done anything wrong. He just says, I don't know her.
Yep. So period talk is the worst. I don't know how comfortable this was for you or even you preparing to do this with me, but I can tell you, as me, this was tough, but I did enjoy Rebecca revealing that the left side of his body period cramps are the worst.
Right. And somebody did say like, I've never heard that before.
Everyone said that.
But there doesn't seem to be any consequences for it. Before.
I think it was Sammy was like, I think she's referring to appendicitis.
That's on the right side.
Yeah. So that was that. So it's time for rankings again. Miranda is 7th and in last place. Adam is 6th. Rebecca is 3rd again for the 3rd time. And Shuby and Joey get what I refer to as pity votes. Now, I think Joey gets pity vote because he hasn't been there. I think people like him but I just think he's on a lower level of the cool kids. Just personal opinion. Yeah. Okay.
I remember Sammy, when she was rating, she said that, like, I think that Joey gets a 1. I don't remember who gave it, but Joey got a 1 and a 2 from Miranda and Sammy. Right, and these are the people who a day or two before, we're playing this game to try to get him to give them the emoji or whatever, because they saw him as just this one-dimensional caricature. Right? Yeah, I think that's where the game came from. And Sammy says something like the relationship has changed. Okay. Again, as we've gotten to know him, I don't think it's a pity vote, but we're not going to resolve this. So
okay, well, I think okay, let's just say for argument's sake, it's not a pity vote, but I still think that they look at him as someone that they know that they can trust and they know that they can beat.
Maybe.
So it's just like,
I don't know that any of these people are thinking about who they can and can't beat when they're sending people. I mean, they should, but I don't think they are.
I think Shuby is, but I don't know.
Maybe, but I'm not sure anyone else is.
And I think Shuby gets the pity vote this time, not because they feel sorry for him as a person, but and I think they felt sorry for Joey not getting to be an influencer yet. They're just like, you know what? It's his time. Just personal opinion. Shuby, I think they felt bad that he didn't get the video from home, because when they're talking about the videos, it really, like, he was so quick to ask them what it was like. Did it make the game harder, seeing family and stuff? And I think people felt, but they're just like, who really would have enjoyed that video? I guarantee Shuby would have. Okay,
maybe. But if they did do this for Joey, then it's really unfortunate, because it's not, a regular influencer decision, right? Joey's going to have to make people on his own, which is not what he was expecting.
Yeah.
And it's still good to be an influencer, you're safe, etc., but it's not as good as it usually is.
No. This is so they go up. Joey is so happy. He's like, I could get used to this. This is so great. I get to talk to my boy Shuby for as long as I want. No problems. Not true whatsoever.
And Shuby picks up what looks like a big, like a water glass or a big wine glass with, like, like a slice of lime floating in it, and he's like, "Is this a martini?" Yeah. Now, I don't know what that was, but it's not a martini.
No, I think it was I know there was a lime in there. I thought it was possibly mint. I was thinking it was perhaps a mint julep.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming it's an alcoholic drink, but he's obviously never seen a martini or a martini.
Yeah, no, that is a martini would be in a martini glass, even in the UK, because they have martini shaken, not stirred there.
Okay.
As I've learned from my childhood of watching James Bond movies. Lotus Petal believes the second Shuby loses influencer, his ass is going home. LMAO, as they like to say in the house all the time.
Well, I mean, it depends on who the influencers are. Obviously, I think Joey would protect him. You're saying nobody can beat him. You're saying they're going to send him home because he's such a threat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they should be doing. I'm not sure that is what they're going to do.
I don't know if they're playing the game yet. So
I don't really thought that far ahead.
No. So we learn.
They're playing Let's Find the Catfish rather than Let's Find the Guy I Can Beat, which are two different games.
Two totally different games. So we learned that they each, instead of working together to send one person home, they each get the power to save two people each.
Right.
Alternating picks and not talk in between. And Chris says he felt like he was at the STD clinic.
I wish we were seeing more of Chris. I feel like we're just not seeing that much of him in most of the episodes, but when we do, he's very, very funny.
I think Chris makes his minutes count.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it's a forced. I think Chris is bored probably a lot, because I'm sure they're like, Chris, you can go to the hot tub. He's like, on the roof. Ugh, go fuck yourself. It's hot. They're like, well, okay, well, you can go to the gym and work out. Go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. You can go to the yoga and stretch. Go fuck yourself. So I think he sits there.
In the room. I mean, I do think that if you're locked up like that, you're so desperate to get out of there. They're letting you out for an hour a day, whatever. You're going somewhere.
I don't think Chris is. I think Chris is reading books, writing letters to God, and telling us funny stuff whenever he feels like it.
I thought we saw Chris in that chair in the yoga studio, but I could be wrong. We don't see him doing yoga. We see him sitting in a chair.
Yeah. But there's not a lot to show sitting in a chair. So Miranda is eventually blocked. It goes back and forth. So cute.
Yeah.
And I don't feel she was ever really playing the game, but yeah. But she gets to choose on where to go, and she's just like, hey, should I ask Shuby why he didn't save me? Do I go to Joey because we had a many fun exchange, so many options. So she
wish that she'd gone to Shuby because she said it was funny. I wish she'd gone to Rebecca because she said she wanted to see if Shuby was a catfish. Like that was a possibility. But she said Rebecca has never been fake.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have seen that. She walks in and that would have been amazing.
There's I can't imagine that every viewer wants every person to go to Rebecca's room. Right?
Why? Just because of his reactions, you mean?
Just to see the moment.
Right.
So I think as a viewer, we all want that. However, Miranda gets dolled up. She is fucking hot. And she goes to Joey's room for whatever God knows reason. And they have a good exchange. Like, she wants some answers. She wants to talk. She wants to thank him for, whatever. And he asks for a kiss and gets it.
Yep.
Holy moly. Would you have ever guessed?
This whole conversation, I mean, I was pretty clear that I thought Joey was being sincere, right? I was not so sure about Miranda. Even though she went in and she said, and it's interesting because, he just sent her home and she's apologizing for whatever it is that she did.
Yeah.
Right. That's not what happened. But I thought that she might just be kind of, wants to get through this and have a pleasant conversation. But when he asks for the kiss and she says yes, and it's a real kiss. It goes on for a bit.
Oh yeah. That was
I think it was real. I think it was real.
Very.
Yeah. Because initially I wasn't sure.
Oh no! She had the chance for the in and out, and she did the follow up.
Yeah,
and he did a quick follow up to that.
Yeah, I mean, I ship it. I think they're cute. That could work.
She's so hot, and he's fucking Joey. I mean,
he is an attractive guy. He does work out. He's
he spends hours a day on his face moisturizer. So
right. So and we know that he shaves. So she doesn't have to worry about that.
Everywhere.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yes. So then, holy moly, Ed is there.
Yes. And the first thing we hear him say is, "When people meet me, they think I'm an asshole." That's a great sign for a game like this. That's exactly what I want, is somebody whose initial impression is that he's an asshole.
Yes. And as we've discovered with everyone else, you're allowed to bring something into the house. Mm-hmm. This asshole brings his mom, Tammy, who is classy. Mm-hmm. as she has to explain to us, because no one would ever fucking think that.
But you know what, though? I don't know how this happened with, I have a feeling that, this was, I don't think that Ed said rather, I want to bring my mom, right? For whatever reason, they decided that they wanted the two of them in there together. But, in terms of but I was thinking about which other contestants would have been better off if they brought their mother. Because I think certainly Adam, right, would have been, I think any female would have stopped him before he said half of the things he said.
Can you, on the UK, did anyone have a second person?
There was a situation where 2 people ended up playing as one for a while.
Okay. I mean, because I remember the woman had her baby.
Her baby. No, this was, but like I said, other than there were, like I said, one time where there was a production decision to kind of combine 2 characters and they played as one. But no, other than that, this is the first person who's playing with a coach, as you will.
So I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
The half the battle of playing this game is living alone. And you're subtracting that from the equation for this asshole.
And that's also one of the criticisms of when they did it in the UK. Because, right, just for you have somebody else, right? It's a huge advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I thought
you were going to say, but other than the fact that there's another human, that you're going to say it's an unfair advantage for Ed and Tammy. And my answer to that would be, but they're Ed and Tammy. Either of them alone would just be an absolute disaster. Maybe production looked at the 2 of them and said, maybe if we put the 2 of them in together, the 2 of them together, they have one functioning brain and this might work.
They each have half a brain. Do you think he's a helicopter engineer?
I don't know what that, I mean, depending on what it is. Does that mean that he's the guy who orders the parts, or is he actually, he's not a pilot.
I'm wondering if there's a ride at the county fair called the helicopter, and he's the guy. I mean, have you seen the people that work at the fair?
Well, it's like Bill says he's in the auto industry, which I found that interesting. Like, what does that mean? Is he a mechanic?
Yeah, what is he?
Yeah.
Maybe he parks cars.
Right, something like that.
Okay.
Helicopter engineer, right? It sounds like, to really be a helicopter engineer, right, you must be smart. But I guess they're automotive engineer. I mean, I have heard that term, so maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shuby thinks they're going to be BFFs because they're both engineers. I'm just like, I don't think...
software engineering, it's different from other kinds of engineering. I don't think that's really works.
Yeah.
And he's not a software engineer, but his parents are.
Yeah. So, and Tammy likes to use the word emojo.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, she does.
I
should be proud. I should be proud because I'm around her age and I've never used the word emojo. So,
well, if you emoji near it, it can happen. So I believe that's the phrase at Snapchat. They say that at corporate headquarters. So, of course, Joey tells everybody about the kiss.
Right.
Heaven forbid. So, and this is where we have the Joey, Shuby, Chris, and Sammy alliance. Rebecca not in the chat, but implied that she is part of the alliance.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised that this becomes our final 5.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
And as Lotus Petal says on the YouTube, which you can find at youtube.com/Survivor NSFW, fuck no, he's not a helicopter engineer.
You never know, though. I mean, I went to law school, and most lawyers are what you would expect. And then there's just a few people you're like, I cannot believe you passed the bar. I cannot believe you graduated from high school. It does happen. Okay,
there you go. So, we then we learned that Rebecca is Shuby's nightlight, and that's a sweet moment.
This was tough for me to watch, right? Because he talked about how the value of the relationship. She's like a sister. He's never had somebody like this before. She's my nightlight. And I do think that when Shuby and Rebecca get to meet, and like I said, if I'm right that if they stick together, this might be our final 5. That could be actually hard to watch when Shuby figures out that Rebecca isn't really Rebecca.
Maybe,
so we'll see.
Maybe could be for good TV. I feel like Shuby's such a forgiving.
TV, I like Shuby so much. I don't want to see Shuby feel like he's been taken advantage of.
But I think he's so forgiving. I think he would be cool with it.
Oh, yeah, I think they would forgive him. By the way, so that's what has happened in the UK, by the way, with the catfishes. I mean, there have been some reactions when it's first revealed, but within days, like we see them all on Insta together, everything's forgiven. Okay. So I'm not saying he wouldn't forgive her, but I'm just saying it still might be a very uncomfortable moment, at least for me.
Sure. So next we have a contest called Portrait Mode, and Chris's Shuby is great. Can we?
It's a great picture. The only problem is Shuby looks like a 7-year-old. Well, it's like he drew Shuby as a child.
Well, actually, Bill says, based on Shuby's picture, that Shuby was a catfish and he is really a 6-year-old boy.
That was a good call.
So that jives up with Chris's caricature. So do you think Chris does caricatures at the Santa Monica Promenade, where I used to hang out with homeless people?
Half an hour, you're right. So I mean, for half an hour, that's pretty good. He probably could make a lot of money doing something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sammy's Joey with Amanda was with Miranda was okay.
Yeah.
Bill's Adam looked a lot like Alex, shockingly.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that
too nice thing. Like he's throwing a little bit of shade.
I like it.
Yeah, I never would have said that Adam is too nice, though. That is not the adjective I would have used.
Yeah, and I think that's the perception that, like, I think Bill's misreading the room, and then when Adam replies with a nice comment, he goes, "And there's Adam being Adam."
Yeah.
I think Bill's just not good. I think he looks like Alec from Survivor, David versus Goliath, and I think he has the same brain as Alec from Survivor, David versus.
I think, like I said, I'll give him a little bit more credit because I do think he understands basically how you win this game. But other than that, he's not giving me very much.
Yeah, no. Joey's Ed sucked.
Yeah, but he learned, I think, from the cake. He didn't even try to like paint an actual portrait of Ed.
Yeah,
right. He just like said some nice things about him, and Ed liked it. So he got away with it. It was fine. By the way, I would be that person. I literally can't draw a stick figure, so I give some of these people a little bit more leeway than you might.
Okay, Ed, Sammy, not that great.
Well, Sammy's happy that she has boobs.
I like her without them. I don't know. I think that is a-okay. Rebecca's Bill.
She calls him Captain Bill. What is that? Something? Is that like? Is there? That's a reference to something we don't know?
I think it's something that we weren't privy to.
Yeah.
And I have an issue with this.
Yeah.
I felt the painting was not very. It wasn't done very femininely. I felt it looked like a male painted that. Whereas on the cake challenge, I felt Rebecca's cake looked very feminine.
Yeah.
And I did not feel that Rebecca showed feminine tendencies in the painting.
Well, but again, she said she can't draw. Again, I would be that person, right? Trust me, I could, trust me, I've been a woman my whole life and I cannot draw. And if I drew something, it would look like a preschooler drew it. So I don't think I would.
All right. I'm just, but we just saw, I mean, as I said, I think Rebecca excelled at the cake, showing that femininity.
Yeah.
And I think this was
what she's supposed to do. But again, if you can't draw, you can't draw.
Yeah. So, okay. I can live with that. I just from one extreme to the other, I thought was huge. Like, if I have my notebook and I'm taking notes, I'm looking at that. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Right. No. And you're right with the cake, because if Joey's cake, let's say, had been done by a character pretending to be a woman, there might have been,
Yeah. You're like, no fucking way.
Right. Even a woman who doesn't know how to decorate a cake is not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like a woman just knows that if you mix all the colors together, you're not going to have a rainbow. You're going to get brown.
Yes.
Right? And that's not what he was expecting. I don't know what he was expecting to happen, but it was not.
I think he was going for a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, right. That's not what happened.
Versus a rainbow.
That's not what happens if you mix a bunch of paints together.
Yes. I think Sean's Chris was perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
And Adam's Sean sucked.
Yes. Oh, and the other thing, he claims that he was an art student who has studied the Dutch masters. I mean, I actually do see, I know like nothing about art, but I do see that like, I can see that might have been painted by somebody who knows a little bit about art, but I wouldn't say that, right? I wouldn't even tell people that you're an art student, because then people are ready to be critical. If people start praising it, which I don't think anybody did.
There was no reason to. I mean, not compared to.
Oh, I went to art school.
Yeah.
And Adam actually said that, what did he say? He said his canvas, he said, is better than that picture.
Yeah.
And he's wrong about that.
You're correct. So, anyway, so we end on Sean telling Chris that she needs to share, and then she invites the rest of the girls, because we're implying that Chris is one of the girls, much like on Survivor. Once you hit the halfway point, the any gay guy is a part of the all-girl alliance.
Right. But didn't he say something about like when he was, even as a kid, like that he was comfortable, like he's always wanted to hang out with the girls?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm just
all gay men, but you know, in his case, he seems to be very comfortable with women. So, and they probably picked up on that. So, you know, so.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. No,
so is this a good move or a bad move for Sean? I mean, we don't really know yet, but what do you predict?
Well, I will say this. I think as far as cliffhangers go, this was the moment to end the week of 4 episodes. Huge. Like I'm just like, wow, this is a moment. This is really cool. I think it's gonna work. I mean, like, I think if this show comes out in 1980, I think they're mean to her.
Yeah.
And they make fun of her. I think 2019/2020.
Yeah.
She's a fucking hero.
Yeah.
I think just society is that, because this is a very kind group of people.
They are. Right.
So I mean, like,
just in general, and maybe it's the way they cast it or whatever. You could play this game. You could cast this game with 8 villains, and it would look very, very different.
And honestly, I think 2 villains could really taint the water on a show like this.
Right.
But I think we just have some really, for the most part, likable people. Like, you know, despite my dislike of Adam / Alex, he doesn't have enough of an influence to do anything.
Right. And he's the closest thing they have to a villain.
Yeah, and he's an epic fail. I think if Chris were the evil gay character,
right,
I think he could pollute the water, and we would see others be less, like, more catty.
Oh yeah, no, people definitely pick up, you know, especially in a game like this, but even in real life, right? You read the room, right.
So no, I think it's some nice people. So people are playing. So as I said, I think your bigger characters, which I think Chris is one of your bigger characters. The fact that he's playing nice is influencing other people to play nice.
Right. No, I don't think anybody's going to make fun of her. But my question was, you know, they're on the hunt for the catfish. So the argument would be, well, you know, they're just going to vote her out because they know she's a catfish. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. No, I think
caring and all of that, and
I think they're going to reward her insecurities. So, you know,
there was also a character in the second season in the UK, just a guy who has a disability. And initially, he didn't share the fact that he was disabled with anybody. And he said, I don't know if he said that initially, but he said at some point, he said, I was never planning to keep this secret for the entire game. He just said, in my life, he said, when people meet me, the first thing they see is the disability, you know, and I just want to be Patty. I don't want to be the disabled guy.
Sure.
Right. And nobody said, oh my gosh, you know, he's being deceptive. He didn't tell us that he walks with crutches. So this is similar, I think. I think that it's going to endear her to people. Yeah,
I mean, as I said, I think the fact that she's coming clean so quickly, I think will work to her advantage.
Okay, no, if she had just been blocked or she got to the end of the game and she's a catfish, that would have been very different. But the fact that, you know, that she came clean, and like you said, and quite quickly.
Yeah. So
because they were skeptical of her, right? Yeah. She just feels guilty. And I think that it's no way a game move.
Yeah. I would have invited Shuby to the chat.
Yeah.
I think she picked the wrong people. I invite Shuby and Joey. They're the two most fucking forgiving people on the planet.
Generally, like you said, it's a forgiving bunch with with certain exceptions. You know, Sammy and Mercedes were never going to be friends, but generally, this is a pretty forgiving bunch.
Yeah, I think Sammy. I think if there's one more character like Mercedes in that apartment building, that Sammy's more evil, and then that's going to pollute someone else, which is going to pollute someone else.
Right.
So, but I think with Mercedes leaving so quick, which I think that reined Sammy in, and she's like, everyone's nice enough. Fuck it.
I just remember like the first episode or two, she was also just being offended by everything.
Yeah.
And then she seemed to have calmed down.
Yeah. So, and Joey, I mean, like Joey's offended by everything, but as I said,
well, he's offended by everything, like you said, but on the other hand, he doesn't hold a grudge.
Well, no, you say one, you follow with one nice thing. It's just like, oh my God, you're my best friend. So yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving the US Circle episodes 4 through 8 or 5 through 8?
I think I would still give it like a 7. I mean, I would give the UK versions, like I said, a solid, 9.5. And I don't think this is as good. And I'm trying to figure out, look, I still think like everything, it's casting. And this is by no means a bad cast. But on average, and some of them pop, obviously. Mercedes was amazing. There's a bunch of good people. But the difference is in the UK, they really have very few duds. And when they do have a dud, it doesn't tend to last long.
This reminds me of the cast of, like, what was it? Survivor Redemption Island? Was that the one when Coach was using Jesus to?
That's South Pacific.
South Pacific. This is the Circle South Pacific to me.
I think they're all using religion.
Yeah, I mean, they're just. I mean, like, just there's just a nice overtone. I feel like.
No, I just said that because there was an interview with one of the creators, and one of the things that he said was that he was surprised about the amount of God talk in the cast. I didn't think it was that much, but maybe he wasn't expecting any. It was funny that Mercedes is wearing a Karen is wearing a hat that says "God is dope."
Yeah.
And we have Chris. Do we have any other?
Sammy made a reference to someone saying something, and she was just like, I guess I'm cool with that or something. So there's been little stuff sprinkled, but no,
I'm guessing with Joey, just he's Italian, he's probably Catholic. Again, I feel like I know Joey, even though I don't, because I know 50 Joeys.
Sure, yes, no,
but
no, Joey was good on the third season, the first, second, third, fourth season of Jersey Shore. He was very good on all those. Yeah, as every character.
Like I said, I've never actually seen an episode of Jersey Shore, despite the fact I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay. So, here we go. And lastly, from Lotus Petal, Johnny, I get how you get confused on South Pacific and Redemption Island because both seasons sucked ass. There you go.
Fair enough.
Thank you. So, Karen, thank you so much for joining me. We went 2 hours and 41 minutes. Can you believe that? So
thank you to 3 people who made through the entire podcast.
Oh, there will be many looks and listens over the course of the next week. We're very excited. If you are listening, thank you. You can catch links to all of our video and audio at survivornsfw.com. You can also get links to become a patron like Karen is and get our weekly Q&A audio or Castaway watch-alongs or top 10 lists, all that fun stuff. That's available at patreon.com/survivornsfw. But the links, of course, are available at survivornsfw.com. And subscribe to our YouTube. In case you're not watching, you can watch at youtube.com/survivornsfw, and get yourself a shirt from me, Jonny Fairplay. And every time you get a shirt, you get a phone call from me, Johnny, thanking you for your shirt. We have some new shirts from for Lauren and Nora and Elaine and Lex and Russell and Sandra and more. Go to JonnyFairplay.com. That's JonnyFairplay. No H in Johnny. And you get a phone call from me thanking you for your purchase.
This is the way, Johnny, you probably remember this. The way we met is I bought a t-shirt and you called me.
You did. You were one of the first T-shirts.
Yeah. So see, you can do that, and then a few years out, you end up being a patron, and
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Just it starts with a T-shirt and a teddy bear and and a trampoline. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week. We'll on next episode of Survivor NSFW. Myself, Matt Bischoff, and the Survivor Specialist will be doing our draft of Survivor Season 40 Winners at War. So you can watch along as we make our picks. Everyone root for Jonny and definitely root against Phil. And until then, thank you. Good night,
everybody. Bye.
Yeah.